Jose Lean at second base, batting second. Andy Van Slyke just off the disabled list 2 weeks ago, batting third. Bobby Bonilla from the Bronx, batting fourth. R.J. Reynolds, the right fielder, hitting fifth. Benny DiStefano, the first baseman, or is it DiStefano, I guess, at batting sixth. Ray Quinones, the shortstop, hitting seventh. The catcher, Junior Ortiz, the ex-Met, ex-Pirate, actually second stint with the Pirates. He's batting eighth. And John Smiley, the pitcher, batting ninth.
And the defense for the Doctor will be Tuffle at first base. Keith Miller playing second base. Elster at shortstop. Johnson at third. McReynolds, Wilson, and Strawberry. Not Strawberry in the outfield. Strawberry's been scratched tonight with a bad back. And Carry-On is playing in right field. The catcher will be Barry Lyons as Gooden completes his warm-up pitches. Pirates having a tough time as Harry Wendelstedt talks it over with Randy March. The umpires, Ed Montague behind home plate. Harry Wendelstedt at first, Randy Marsh at second, and Bill Hahn, the umpire, at third base. Pirates with a record of 21-28, 6.5 back at the Cubs. They trail the Mets by 4. And the Pirates last year finishing in second place, their highest finish in quite some time, as they had a great year under Jim Leland, the manager of the Pirates. Pirates at one point last year got to within 1/2 game of the Mets and then returned back. One of the key games was a win by Bob Ojeda over John Smiley, who is pitching tonight, 1-0 on Elster's home run in the bottom of the 8th inning. So it'll be Barry Bonds, the leadoff. He's had 17 career leadoff home runs, and the first pitch by Gooden, a fastball for ball one. Bonds hitting .250 this year, 7 home runs, 19 runs batted in. With his 7 home runs, he and his daddy about ready to become the all-time father-son leaders in home runs in the major leagues. They now have 404. Yogi Berra and his son, Dale Berra, with 407, and Gus Bell and his son Buddy Bell also with 407 home runs. Then a high pop up to the first base side, and Tuffle makes the play. So you see Carry-On in right field, not Darryl Strawberry, as the Chiron had. And it will be Jose Lean to bat for the Pirates.
That was a late change. Mark Carry-On in there. Darryl Strawberry with a sore lower back. So Darryl not in there tonight. His status, that old day-to-day. That's become the kind of the catchphrase as far as injuries are concerned in the big leagues, day-to-day.
Lean hitting .227, 1 home run, 16 runs batted in, and Gooden misses with a fastball, 2 balls, no strikes. Jose Lean with a great day against the Mets. He had a 4 RBI day back in June of last year. Most runs he's ever driven in one ball game. Good ball player. Had a .262 last year. And he takes the fastball for ball 3, 3 balls, 1 strike. He's hitting .200 against Gooden in his major league career with no home runs. He's hitting .282 against the Mets. And a strike call by Montague, and that puts the count at 3-2.
Lean thought this pitch was high, and you can understand why. May have been a strike, but you don't get that pitch too much nowadays.
And Gooden back with another fastball. It's hit to center field. Mookie Wilson there. 2 men away.
Remember last year, Ralph, at the change, the umpires said they were going to drop the strike zone down. Technically, the high strike about the top of the letters, but we have seen really no noticeable change last year or this year through the early part, and an umpire's calling that high strike.
Really boils down to the umpire's own strike zone.
Yeah, that's right. All have a different one.
Here's Andy Van Slyke, an outstanding year last year, and he takes a fastball for strike 1. Van Slyke hitting .244 this year with 1 home run, 10 runs batted in. Last year he hit .288 with 25 home runs, 100 RBIs, with 30 stolen bases. And he lines one to left field. McReynolds will let it drop as he can't get to it to make the catch, and Van Slyke with a base hit.
I asked Andy before the game if he felt all right. He said, playable. Winner rules, but playable. He has got one of the best senses of humor. He is a very, very glib, bright, articulate young man.
He has been the spokesman for the Pirates since he came over there 2 years ago, and he's had 2 great years. And now the batter is Bobby Phenia, and he takes the first pitch for strike one. Phenia, switch hitter, so far hitting .281 this year with 7 home runs, 24 RBIs. Fine year last year also. Hit .274 with 24 home runs and 100 runs batted in. And the curveball, third base umpire Bill Hahn said he did not swing, so the count 1-1.
See if Bobby went around. Curveball, and nope, he checked in time.
So Bobby Phenia with a 1-1 count, a throw to first. Van Slyke, a good base runner.
Yeah, but I wouldn't look for him to run. He's just off 2 weeks ago. He had a broken rib, and it is really bothering him.
3 stolen bases in 4 attempts so far this year. And he doesn't go, and Phenia fouls off a fastball. 1-2. Phenia has hit good and very well in his major league career. Hitting .368 against the doctor, but he has no home runs. Not many guys hit Doc very well, as attested by his great record of 97 wins and 37 losses. Bobby, raised in the Bronx, a New York product, and really a delightful man. 1-2 the count. And the runner goes. The throw by Lyons is offline in the center field as Miller comes over to try and get to the ball. Miller evidently hit in the head by the knee of Van Slyke, and Van Slyke also is down.
Well, we mentioned Van Slyke's problems. He told me before the game that it was almost like spring training coming back, and that's why he wasn't running early in the count. And maybe one of the reasons he got injured here. Watch the throw tail into the runner. Miller reaching for it. And Miller's head hits the right foot of Van Slyke. And I think Barry Lyons throwing it, the tailing ball into the runner. But the big play, and the big thing about that play is Miller with his head hitting the foot of Van Slyke, and Van Slyke probably jarring his shoulder or his knee. No, it looked like his, well, I couldn't tell. Either his shoulder or his knee when he slid into second base and writhing in pain. Andy Van Slyke has had a season full of pain so far.
And now the pitch back to the plate, a breaking ball for ball 3, 3 balls, 2 strikes. Van Slyke credited with a stolen base. So he now has 4 and 5 attempts. And it's a full count to Bobby Phenia. And Gooden goes to the curveball and walks him, so runners now at first and second. That'll bring up R.J. Reynolds.
Number 23.
Reynolds hitting .277, 2 home runs, 10 runs batted in. And it was R.J. Reynolds 2 years ago to hit a home run on his first at-bat opening day game in Pittsburgh. He goes after the fastball and fouls it back. His only home run against the Dodgers. He's hitting .265 against Gooden. On deck batter from Lafayette High School, Benny DeStefano. The 1-strike pitch, and it's fouled off. Again, the fastball, strike 2. Just underway here at Shea. Runners at first and second on a delightful night for baseball. And again the fastball, and again the foul ball. Big crowd here today. Very short homestands. You see the stands about full with the fans still coming in. That's ahead of last year's attendance when it drew over 3 million people. And a breaking ball that time fouled, so the count stays at strike 2. Mets have drawn 3 million people into the ballpark with paid attendance the last 2 years. And ahead of last year's record drawing season. And again, the foul ball. You know, Tim, talking with Don Drysdale out in Los Angeles, and he was critical of Gooden's position where he goes to the set. He says it can't help him. It only can take away from his power to the plate. He's not stopping the base runners anyway.
Well, he's not stopping them because he's basically doing the same thing as if his hands were down around the belt where they used to be.
Down around the belt, you get a little more power pitching to the plate, but where he starts with his hands that high, he loses a fraction.
Well, you got to trigger a pitch just like a hitter triggers a swing. That really looks unorthodox and unusual.
And a fly ball hit out to left, a base hit. McReynolds has it, a good play at the plate, and not in time as Andy Van Slyke beats the throw, and the Pirates lead it 1-0.
No breaking ball, a good at bat by R.J. Reynolds. Bad base running by Bobby Bonilla. When a ball's hit this sharply, really you should have runners at second and third instead of first and second. The throw by McReynolds over the cutoff man's head. That's Howard Johnson. Nobody covering third. Bonilla can walk to third, and Reynolds should be at second. The Mets catch a break there.
So a 2-out run scored on the RBI by R.J. Reynolds, and now the batter, the first baseman, Benny DeStefano. DeStefano hitting .216 with no home runs, 5 runs batted in. And the 1-0 pitch, ball 2, 2 balls, no strikes. DeStefano in 16 games last year for the Pirates hit .345 with 1 home run. He's 3 for 8 against Doc Gooden in his major league career. Pirates leading 1-0 as they have drawn first blood here in the first inning. And a strike call off the fastball. It's 2 balls and 1 strike.
Big story about DeStefano this year. He became the first left-handed catcher in the major league since Mike Squires. Benny was a catcher on Mother's Day, May 14th, a left-handed catcher.
And the curveball, 3 balls, 1 strike. The Pirates had a left-handed catcher, and Dale Long. He actually was a first baseman converted to catching. They sent him down to Hollywood in the Pacific Coast League to get experience. They set his career back about 3 years. He came back up as a left-handed throwing catcher. And the swing and a miss. 3-2. And Dale Long, who holds a record for hitting in 8 consecutive games with at least 1 home run. And he tied that record, didn't he, last year?
Yeah, but he hit 10 home runs year before last. Hit 10 home runs during that streak.
And strike 3 call. The runners moving on the pitch, but strike 3 called as 1 run is scored on 2 hits, 2 were left, and the score at the end of 1/2 inning. It is the Pirates 1, the New York Mets coming up. Now here's a word from Nissan. For the record of 5-2, an earned run average of 2.92. He has worked 74 innings, given up 66 hits, while walking 16, and he has an ERA at 2.92.
The lineup for the Mets: Wilson, Miller, Carrion, McReynolds, Johnson, Tuffle. And then Barry Lyons, Kevin Elster, Doc Gooden. There we'll go through it again. Wilson, Miller, Carrion, McReynolds, Johnson, Tuffle, Lyons, Elster, Gooden.
And Mookie Wilson leading off. Mookie hitting .197 so far this year. Lifetime .281 batter in the major leagues. The count, strike 2 against him as John Smiley comes back with a fastball grounded out to DeStefano, who drops the ball, and Mookie will beat the play. And that'll be an error against DeStefano.
I'll tell you what, the way Smiley was breaking off the mound, I don't think they get Wilson anyway. Watch the delay. Smiley turned to his right, and that's what left-handers do. Their follow-through carries them to the right. It's going to be an error but had DeStefano caught the ball and given it to Smiley. See, Smiley's not there now, and I think DeStefano, I think Mookie would have won the foot race. But because he dropped it so soon, then it was easy for the official scorer, Red Foley, to give him an error.
And that'll bring up Keith Miller batting in the second batting position. Miller takes the first pitch, a called strike. Miller has not had a base hit for the Mets since coming up from Tidewater.
Left-handed pitchers have a much more difficult time covering first than right-handers because when a left-hander finishes, he's going toward the third baseline. A right-hander finishes, he's going toward first.
And the pitch back to Miller, hit in the air to left center field. Andy Van Slyke, the center fielder, making the call and catch, and Mookie Wilson back to first. It was Mookie's ground ball that saw the Mets win their game against the Giants 2 days ago in San Francisco.
Number 32, March. Carry
on an error by Chris Fire. Fire defense, DeStefano at first, leaned at second. Quinones is at shortstop, Phenia at third. Bonds, Van Slyke, and Reynolds in the outfield. Ortiz, the catcher. So what a way. And the batter is Mark Carrion, replacing Darryl Strawberry in the outfield. Carrion hitting 200 for the year, 2 for 10. He has 1 home run, his first pinch hit home run. He's had 2 in his major league career. And he takes the breaking ball, a called strike. Carrion hit 279 at Tidewater before being brought up. 1 home run, 21 runs batted in 32 games. He has 8 stolen bases. Mookie Wilson, an average lead at first. And he draws another throw. The Mets have 43 stolen bases and 61 attempts. Mookie is 2 for 4 in his stolen base attempts. 1 strike to count. And it's hit off the end of the bat. Little ground ball to the first base side. Fielded by Smiley, fires to first as Wilson goes down to second.
John Smiley has one of the better changeups that you'll see. Fastball, curveball, and this is the changeup. Carrion hits it right off the end of the bat, and because of that grooved in to take some of the weight out of the bat head, it splinters on him, and he's thrown out. John Smiley with an excellent changeup.
And with 2 men out, the batter will be Kevin McReynolds. McReynolds hitting 279, 5 home runs, 18 runs batted in. And he takes for ball 1. McReynolds has hit in 6 of his last 7 games, batting .310 over that period, and he's hit in 15 of his last 17. And he's been on base in 43 of the 47 games he's played. Hard ground ball, but foul. 1 ball, 1 strike. Good play. Looks like Kevin Elster in that one.
Mindy Rashbaum, our left field ball girl, just out of the hospital in a very serious car accident. Been in the hospital for a month with showing no signs of injury right there. Good play by Mindy.
Hasn't lost a step. 1-1 pitch to McReynolds, hit foul off into the stands behind home plate.
Talking about that board out in, Ralph, the bat. Kevin McReynolds is not using one where the end of the bat is bored out. What that does, it lightens the bat head, and bat speed is one of the key things that hitters try to maintain, and that helps get it. But with McReynolds, he has a normal in, as you can see him in his practice swings there.
This ball hit out to deep left center field, but plenty of time for Bonds to get under it. Now he's run off the play by Van Slyke, and that retires the side. So an error and a runner left at second, and the score at the end of 1. It's the Pirates 1, the New York Mets nothing, and here's a word from Mets Life. Working to Quinones, and his first pitch to the shortstop, hit in the air to shallow left field. McReynolds runs Elster off the play and makes the play. So 1 pitch and 1 away, and you're watching Mets Baseball 89. on WWOR.
Number
Secaucus, New Jersey.
Junior Ortiz.
So Gooden, who has given up 1 run on 2 hits, works here with 1 out in the second, and he'll be working to Junior Ortiz. And he hits the first pitch, but this will be a base hit. Miller over to knock it down, unable to get to the ball to make a play. And the third hit as Ortiz comes up with his second hit off Gooden.
When a fielder, an infielder that is, goes to his right on a ground ball, they try to catch the ball in the web, and you will invariably see infielders have problems when the ball hits the heel of the glove. That ball hit Miller right in the heel of the glove, but I don't know whether he's got to play if he comes up with it anyway.
And now the batter, John Smiley. The Mets looking for the bunt, and the ball is bunted foul back into the stands. Smiley has been up 26 times with 1 hit. And Smiley squares again, takes this one. 1 ball, 1 strike. From Phoenixville, Pennsylvania, John Smiley. There goes the runner, and he swings away. The throw by Lyons is taken by Elster, and it's in time as Elster makes the quick tag as Jim Leland tries to cross the Mets up by having the pitcher swing away.
I'll tell you, Ralph, not only does Elster make a quick tag, but he defends his position properly. He doesn't break until late on the hit-and-run play. You see Elster just coming over, and we have talked about Buddy Harrelson trying to get it through to Elster to hold his position until the last minute, to move up on the play and then over, and that's what Elster did then. Excellent play by Kevin Elster and Barry Lang.
And now this pitch called a strike, and that ends the inning. So a hit, a runner thrown out, no one left on base. And the score as Gooden gets his second strikeout at the end of 1.5 innings. The Pirates won, the Mets nothing. And here's a word from Sears. Bottom half of the second inning. And waiting for Andy Van Slyke to take his position in center field. He evidently has just either put on another brace on his knee or has changed that brace that's on there. Appears to be running all right. And here's a man who could run well for a catcher, Tim McCarver.
And Andy appears to be all right. A little late getting out of the dugout. Howard Johnson leads it off here in the bottom of the second with the Pirates up 1-0. 3 hits for Pittsburgh. 2 of them coming in the first inning with 2 out, nobody on. Andy Van Slyke single, stole second. Bobby Bonilla walked, and R.J. Reynolds with his 11th RBI of the season singled home Van Slyke. Hojo batting .259. And he rips 1 foul. No balls, 1 strike to Howard Johnson, who is 4th in the National League in home runs with 10. Hojo really slipping during the month of May. As you saw in our graphics before the ball game, the Mets 17-15 the month of May, but just off a deadly road trip. They won 3 out of 9 games on the West Coast. Swing and a miss at the changeup, 0-2.
Mets on the road have a record of 11-14 for the year. And at home, they're 14-10. So the friendly confines of Shea Stadium. But the Mets are looking forward to turn things around.
Tight. And a good pitch by Smiley. 1 ball, 2 strikes. It would indicate that he's going back outside with a changeup. We'll see what he does. John Smiley, 5-1 lifetime against the Mets. His only loss coming on that 1-0 shutout on the Elster homer last year. There's the change, grounded to third. Bonilla throws him out, 1 out. Pirates have an interesting name team. Bonilla, LL in Spanish, is pronounced like a Y. And Quinones, the shortstop, is a tilde over his first N, so it's a ña. Quinones, the shortstop. Bonilla, at third. Ortiz, the catcher, and Leaned at second. Interestingly named ball club. Tuffle, the batter.
I think
Ball one.
it was even better when they had Fermin, who was the shortstop.
Yeah. Bream.
And Bream at first. It was Fermin to Lean to Bream.
Sid Bream on the DL. Pirates have had a lot of problems keeping people healthy this year, and their biggest injury coming to Jim Gott, their short reliever. 1-1 to Tuffle.
I was going to say, how about the old days when they had all those people with names like Veal and Moose
And Lamb.
and Lamb?
A fly ball the other way, and R.J. Reynolds hauls it in. 5 in a row now, retired by Smiley after that error on DiStefano in the first inning. Tuffle is 6th start at first base, and I saw Keith Hernandez today, and his leg is out of the cast.
Number 33.
There's Keith.
Barry Lyons.
He may have the cast on during the game, but he was running today without it. Let's see if he's got that cast on. Nope.
That's good news.
Yes, sir. Doctors have encouraged him to run on that leg so the surrounding muscles won't atrophy. Line drive by Barry Lyons, speared by Bonilla. Lyons, who has been red hot, probably the best of the Mets hitters, lines out. 1-0 Pirates after 2. We're back after this from Manufacturers Hanover. Bonds the batter. Barry popped to first. His first at bat, and he takes strike 2. Barry Bonds entered the game batting .250 with 7 home runs. He has good power to all fields. Talented young man. High, ball 1, 1-2.
Got the good genes, I guess, Tim. Bobby Bonds, his daddy.
Inside, ball 2. Barry does not strike out as much as his daddy did. That's one gene you want to
eliminate. 189 strikeouts, the all-time record for his dad one season.
Tell you another thing about Barry Bonds. His hobbies are very interesting. Weightlifting, martial arts, dancing, and travel. So if he's on a dance floor in another city, beware. Tight, ball 3, 3-2.
Yeah, if he taps you on the shoulder and wants to dance with your girlfriend or wife or whatever, say, okay, my pleasure.
Got him with the curveball out of the strike zone, and we mentioned his daddy. Oh, that was a bad ball. 1 out here in the third.
A good curveball, breaking bigger than the last time that he worked. This ball really dropping out as he comes in with the overhand curveball. A lot of action, a lot of spin.
Jose Leaned, slide to center in the first, and the fastball inside. Strike 1, 1-1.
Jose Lean, one of the best jumpers that you'll ever see. He'll bet you he can jump over the top of you. And does it.
Ground ball to third, Howard Johnson. 2 out. It's a normal man. He would never challenge Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
He might make it, though.
You know, the thing about it is he jumps flat-footed, too. He's no running start. Enormous range at second base. Tremendous range. Quite an athlete. Andy Van Slyke has scored the only run of the game. A single to left, stolen base. He scored on a hit by R.J. Reynolds in the first, and he takes ball 1. Andy from Utica, New York, upstate New York. Just a short ways from the Hall of Fame. 2 balls, no strikes to Andy.
Waddy Herzog along the line said to him when he played for St. Louis, that's the closest you're going to get to the Hall of Fame. But that was before his 2 seasons with the Pirates. He's put together 2 great years.
That's right. He and Bobby Bonilla got their 100th RBI on the last game of the season last year. There's Bobby. 2 balls and a strike to Van Slyke. 1-0 Pittsburgh here in the third. 2-2. Jim Leland checking over his notes, clandestine as they may be. That's where you really have to pitch Van Slyke is inside. See how it ties him up. He's a low ball hitter, and most low ball hitters have to be pitched inside because most low ball hitters have slower bats. And the slower the bat, the more vulnerable inside you can be pitched. Curve, a looper to left. McReynolds is there, and he makes the play. 3 up, 3 down for Doc in the third. 1-0 Pittsburgh, middle of the third. We're back after this from McDonald's. 1-0 Pirates here as Elster takes the fastball strike. 1-1 to Kevin Elster. Pittsburgh scoring their run, an earned run off Gooden in the first inning.
Tim, here's an extra, too. You can order that inside pitch by credit call cards, and you can call 1-800-421-7751.
All right. Keep up to date with the Mets as they try to capture the National League East once again. They have been struggling lately, and that is no secret. Sharply to short. Quinones throws out Elster.
Checking out the Nissan National League scoreboard. Montreal 1, Philadelphia nothing. Top of the third. Atlanta 2, San Francisco 1, bottom half of the second. Cincinnati 2, San Diego 1, top of the third. Chicago and St. Louis underway later, and the Dodgers playing Houston later.
There is Glenn Wilson. We have a terrific story. It seems like we always have a good story to tell about Glenn Wilson. Funny guy. Doc Gooden swinging a miss at the changeup, 0-1. Doc 4 for 25 on the year, and that includes a couple of doubles and 1 RBI. Tight with a fastball is Smiley. No balls, 2 strikes to Doc. Mets still looking for their first hit. 1-0 Pittsburgh. Ball 1, a ball and 2 strikes. Smiley with 3 complete games, the tops on the Pirates staff. He's 1-0 against the Mets this year. He beat Ron Darling on that Thursday afternoon at Three Rivers, April 13th. Grounder, third base, by Bonilla. Actually, he got a glove on it, and that prevented Quinones from fielding the ball. And that's probably going to be a hit for Gooden.
I think it should be a hit because I don't think Quinones could have thrown him out. Gooden goes down the line well. Right here, Bonilla goes over, and they say the third baseman should try to get everything. He got a piece of it, but not enough to hold on to it, just off the glove, and Quinones has the ball deflected by him, but I doubt if he could have thrown him out.
So the Mets with a base runner here with 1 out, their first hit of the game. And Stefano's playing behind Gooden. Now, Gooden has no stolen bases, but as Ralph said, he can run. Change up, popped up. Stefano, 2 outs. We were talking about Glenn Wilson, and a couple of weeks ago in Houston, Glenn Wilson went to a McDonald's. We can say that now since they're one of our sponsors. He had a Big Mac. He went out and got actually a quarter pounder. He went out and got 1 hit, the only hit against the Houston Astros. He continued that regimen for 6 straight games and batted almost 500 over those 6 straight games. They came back to Pittsburgh, and the local McDonald's had sent over 50 quarter pounders, and the whole team indulged. Ground ball, base hit by the diving Bonilla, and Bonds gets to it cleanly. Gooden stops at third, and Miller stops at second. So maybe Keith Miller had a Big Mac today before the game, huh?
Okay, Keith Miller comes up with a double, and it's right down over the bag. It only has to cross over any part of that bag. It did hit in fair territory beyond the base. And Phenia unable to get to it. Didn't the Mets have a player in their minor league organization named McDonald? think they did.
They had a general manager named McDonald.
Oh, yeah, Joe McDonald.
That got your attention, didn't it?
Yeah. He was our statistician the first year the Mets started up in '62.
2 on, 2 out. Strike one to Carry On, who grounded back to Smiley.
But those days are long gone back there.
0-1 to Carry On. Swing and a miss at the changeup. No balls, 2 strikes to Mark. On deck batter, Kevin McReynolds.
These are the situations the Mets have been bogged down in. Runners in scoring position where they need a 2-out base hit. They just haven't been getting them.
Change up, fly ball left field, easy play for Bond. And he makes the catch for the 3rd out. So the Mets threaten, they do not score. After 3, it's 1-0 Pittsburgh, and we're back after this from Tropicana. Well, Keith Hernandez and Greg Jeffries. Greg Jeffries making comments today in New York newspapers that Hernandez has helped him a great deal. Keith Hernandez was helped a great deal in the middle 70s when he came up. Back in 1974, August 31st, as a matter of fact, he was helped by Lou Brock. And a guy here to help me for the next 3 innings, Steve Zabriskie.
Thank you, Timmy.
All right.
We'll help each other. And, as long as we've known each other, we know quite well that we need all the help we can get. Bobby Bonilla leads it off against the Doctor, and a curveball squirts high for ball 1. Bonilla walked his first time up and was stranded at second. Breaking ball low, ball 2. Darryl Strawberry not in the lineup, suffering back spasms prior to the game, and Mark Carry-On taking his place in right field. Fastball fouled away the other way, 2 balls, 1 strike.
Now, some of that could be from a team traveling all night from San Francisco yesterday morning, taking the red-eye charter. They got here about 7:30, slept all day yesterday, trying to get their body back in check.
Fastball right in there, and it's 2-2.
And, you know, talking about Jeffries, that's really what Greg Jeffries is trying to do, and obviously all of New York is talking about. I went out running today, or actually walking.
Yeah. That's fouled off.
Walking at this age is running, and I had about 4 people, a couple of cab drivers and several people, when is Jeffries going to hit? And it seems to be the subject of concern with most of the people who are Met fans here in New York. Obviously, nobody knows that.
Well, I think it's interesting, too, and I've had the same thing happen to me. People asking, you know, about Greg. It's interesting that in almost every case, they don't say, is he ever going to hit? They say, when is he going to hit?
Yeah, that's an interesting point. That's right.
They expect him to hit. They feel that he does have talent, as do the Mets, of course. Strike 3 called. Bodine thought it was tight, but it's strikeout number 4 for Dwight Gooden. 1 out here in the 4th. And tonight's game being brought to you in part by your good old guys. And by the Sears Craftsman Eager One, America's easy-to-start power mower. Bobby Bonilla obviously not happy. And the batter, R.J. Reynolds, who had a base hit to drive in the Pirates' run in the 1st. And he fouls it out of play for strike 1.
Psychologically, you can certainly understand Jeffrey's dilemma.
And I'll venture to say that 90% of it, maybe 80% of it, is psychological.
Sure. Because he proved last year that he can hit major league pitching. Phenomenal years in the minor leagues. Really, now it's a head game.
Yep. Well, that's why Yogi said that 80% of this game is half mental. High and away.
Well, you know, think about it, though. When you're not expected to do it, it's easier to do it. When
Right.
you're expected to do it, like he was this year, it's harder to do it.
You have to deal with the pressure. Another fastball foul the other way, and it's 2-2 to R.J. Reynolds.
One of Bill Robinson's problems, and Bill will tell you, it's not the mechanics of somebody's swing. Can't think about mechanics of a swing every time you're up there, because then if you do your swinging by the numbers, it's you got to get back to that hit what you see philosophy, and that's what Bill's trying to get Greg to realize right now.
High heat gets R.J. Reynolds. And the doctor has disposed of the first two hitters here in the fourth inning. 5 strikeouts.
Take a look at the American Nissan scoreboard. 1-0 Toronto over Boston in the third. No score Baltimore at Detroit. No score New York and Milwaukee. Minnesota and Chicago the same thing. KC at California, Texas, Seattle.
Later.
And California. Let's see. California hosting Kansas City. Seattle hosting Texas. Oakland hosting Cleveland later on.
Fastball fouled out of play. Benny DiStefano out in front of that one. DiStefano struck out his first time out to end the first inning. 1 ball, 1 strike. Just outside. 2-1.
But the one thing you get up here is empathy. You don't get sympathy in the major league.
So don't be looking for it.
No, and Greg has it, to his credit.
Curveball. 2-2. Good play by second baseman Keith Miller, and the inning is over. The doctor retires the Pirates in order again in the fourth, but it's still 1-0 Pittsburgh. Back after this for the good old Skies. Order as, we go to the bottom of the fourth inning. Kevin McReynolds against John Smiley, and he takes a fastball for strike 1. McReynolds flied deep to Andy Van Slyke in left center field to end the first inning. Turned that one over, but it stayed outside. 1 ball, 1 strike. 1-0 Pittsburgh. The Pirates scoring in the top of the first. Ball 2, 2-1.
That's the same type of changeup that Bobby Ojeda throws, the middle 3 fingers. And he tucks it back near the palm of the hand and has the same arm motion, and it's a very, very effective pitch, both for Ojeda and Smiley.
Breaking ball. Pull the string on that one, and it's 2-2. McReynolds lines this one to left field for a base hit. Matt had seen that pitch before.
There are some pitches that just go up to the plate and say, hit me.
This is
one. Watch. Kurt Simmons used to say pitchers should pitch high and tight, low and away, and that's because the arms are on the shoulders. If your arms were on your knees, it'd be down and in and up and away. Well, that ball was right. It was up where the arms are. I mean, it just did absolutely nothing. Laid there.
And until he hit it. Then it very quickly went to left field. Strike called to Howard Johnson, who's 0 for 1. Hojo grounded to third, leading off the second inning. Kevin McReynolds at first with nobody out here in the bottom of the fourth inning as Johnson checked out third base coach Sam Perlazzo. And then a throw to first. One strike to count. Just inside, 1-1. Each team now with 3 hits. As McReynolds leads off the fourth with a single to left. Breaking ball for strike 2, 1-2. The Mets had a chance to score in the third. Dwight Gooden had a 1-out base hit. Keith Miller had a 2-out double. And the Mets had runners at second and third. But as has been the norm, a hard time getting them down at final 90 feet. And McReynolds chased back to first again. Well, Kevin Mitchell just keeps on keeping on. His 16th home run, and he now has 50 RBIs.
Wow.
He's going to start that at this pace talk.
Just turned June, and he has 50 RBIs.
People will be diving into the record books to find out how many Hack Wilson had on this date. In the year he had 190.
Yeah, 1930.
Which is the big league record. And others who have had well over 100 RBIs in a season.
Lou Gehrig, the American League record, he drove in 184 one year. Man, that's a lot of ribbies. A lot of careers.
What would be interesting would be to look back and see the batting averages of the players who hit ahead of him in the lineup. Somebody had to be getting on base a lot.
Tony Lazzeri, Bob Musil, a guy named Babe Ruth for a while ahead of him. Of course, Babe hit all the home runs. Yeah, he cleaned off all the plates. That's right.
That didn't make it any easier.
No.
Well, Babe didn't always hit a home run,
No.
just more often than other people. Johnson struck out on the high fastball. Strikeout number 1 for Smiley, and 1 out here in the fourth.
Smiley and Ortiz setting up Johnson with a lot of off-speed stuff, and then they crowd him with the fastball to get Hojo.
Smiley is 5-1 in his young major league career against the Mets. So he has been tough on New York. Tuffle, speaking of tough, flying to right his first time up. He takes the high heat for ball 1. One out, 1 on. And Pittsburgh leading New York 1-0. And again, McReynolds chased back.
I think Junior Ortiz is giving flaps behind home plate. Some catchers don't give numbers with their fingers. They give location or flaps. He touched his right leg without giving a signal.
McReynolds is running the pitch low and away. No throw from Ortiz. And Kevin McReynolds picks up his 9th stolen base of the year.
Maybe what Junior was doing was flashing the steal sign to McReynolds. Maybe he was working on being a third base coach. Nonetheless, Kevin with a tremendous jump and steals second easily.
Ortiz.
Now he's giving signs. Maybe with a guy at second, he goes to fingers.
And Tuffle takes the strike 2-1. Ortiz may have been signaling for Smiley to throw to first.
Maybe. Yep.
With that tap.
Ortiz looking in the dugout continually.
Outside with a fastball, so it's 3-1 to Tuffle. Jim Leland with his arm on the water cooler. May be giving signs to Ortiz. Right there, I'd say it's pretty tough for Junior to see him.
Yep, it might be Ray Miller, Ray Miller, the pitching coach.
And Tuffle walks. So the Mets with 1 out now have runners at first and second. And the batter will be Barry Lyons.
I just think it's, you know, there are a lot of things when you tell a catcher to keep looking in the dugout. Now, one side of it is, well, it's a manager's job to win or lose. Everything that a catcher and pitcher do, for the most part, hinges on his job. The other part is, do you really create confidence with a catcher and a pitcher if the pitching coach or somebody else is calling signs? I think it diverts your concentration when you're always looking in the dugout.
Lyons hits it off the hands, back out of play, strike one. You saw Ray Miller leaning forward, the Pirates pitching coach. I'd have to agree with you, Timmy. Obviously, I've never caught, but Junior's looking in there again. Of course, if you play for Roger Craig, whom the Mets just faced.
And a very successful manager,
right,
too.
You got to look in there on every pitch as well. In the dirt, 1 ball, 1 strike.
There is nobody that knows what a pitcher can do but the pitching coach. But on a given night, there is nobody that knows what the pitchers are doing more than a catcher. So you're looking at it from a wide range as far as the pitching coach is concerned. But tonight, you're looking at the catcher, and he's the guy who knows more than anybody in the ballpark.
Breaking ball, base hit left field. McReynolds rounds third. He will score without a throw, and the Mets tie the game at 1. Barry Lyons stays red hot. His 7th RBI of the year.
Lyons now has hit in 10 straight games. And that's the way you feel. You see him loosen up, that's the way you feel. Loosey-goosey, the ball looks twice as big. He doesn't hit it well off the end of the bat, but when you're going well, you wait longer. And when you wait longer, your hands are faster. The ball slows down. Everything's in slow motion, or it appears to be. Great hitting by Barry Lyons. 1-1 ball game.
So Ray Miller is out to talk to John Smiley. And the Mets have runners at first and second. Still only 1 out here in the 4th inning.
Hey, to wrap that up about a catcher and guys calling the pitches, you know, catchers take a lot of pride in being leaders on the field. And leadership means that you will accept all the things that go wrong. You don't necessarily want all the credit, but anything goes wrong, I'll take the blame.
Kevin Elster fouls it out of play for strike 1.
And by calling pitches, what a pitching coach or a manager does is take that away from a catcher. So really all you are is a guy who becomes a robot behind the plate. You flash signs and throw guys out, but you're not doing any thinking.
Well, it's just like the management principle that it's not very significant if you give someone who works for you responsibility without authority. Fouled off. If you have responsibility and you're not given the authority to carry out that responsibility, you don't do as good a job as if you also have the authority to go with the responsibility.
And it's also great for executives to hire people and then delegate authority to them. And that's really what a manager does when he puts a catcher on the field. He's the leader on the field, just like Davey Johnson does when he puts Sam Palazzo out at third base. He's the manager on the field right now.
Elster fouls another one off, still 0-2. Some people, and this is not to include Roger Craig, Jim Leland, any other manager in baseball.
Right. Or Ray Miller.
Some people in general have a hard time delegating authority, no matter what their job is or what their position is. Sharply hit the third. Bonilla has it go off his glove, and the bases are loaded.
Bobby Bonilla, who tied the third baseman for most errors last year with 32, just commits his 13th error of the year. He comes up on the ball. If the ball takes a bad hop and goes over your shoulder, infield instructors say that's not nearly as bad as coming up on the ball and allowing it to trickle through.
Well, you got to keep your glove and your hands below the hop. And Bonilla didn't do that. So here's the doctor. He fouls it off for strike 1. Still only 1 out. The error, the second of the game for the Pirates, loads the bases for Dwight Gooden, who singled to left his first time up.
See, what that does, when you keep your glove below the hop, that never allows the ball to get under the glove. It may come up and hit the heel of the glove, but it never gets under the glove.
Doc holds up on the breaking ball in the dirt. 1 ball, 1 strike. Tim Tuffle, the runner at third. Barry Lyons is at second, and Kevin Elster, who just reached on Bonilla's error, is at first. A run in here in the 4th for New York to tie the game at 1. And the runners are going on the squeeze play, and the ball is missed. Did Dwight Gooden foul it off? Yes, he did. So Tuffle will go back to third as Dwight fouls off a high pitch on the squeeze.
Well, that's not as bad as missing it, and it's not as good as bunting it. The one thing it does do, it gets Gooden in the hole, and that's why he's so upset. A good pitch to bunt, a breaking ball up, and Doc fouls it back.
Tuffle had a big break, too. Tapper over the mound. Quinones steps on second and throws out Gooden at first. And again, the Mets are turned away, but they get 1 run here in the 4th to tie the game at 1. And we're back at Shea after this for Bud Light. Yes, is authorized under television rights granted by the New York Mets solely for the entertainment of you, our audience. Publication, reproduction, or use of the pictures, descriptions, and accounts of this game without the written consent of the New York Mets, Sterling Doubleday Enterprises, and WWOR-TV is prohibited. Any commercial or other use of the program, such as by charging admission for its showing, is similarly prohibited. Well, Spuds McKenzie is peeking to us over the top of the left field bleachers. And there we are, looking into the eye of Spuds, an inflatable Spuds, symbolic of the fact that today, Rusty Staub hosted his annual picnic in the left field picnic pavilion for the benefit of the New York City firemen and policemen, children, and widows of those killed in the line of duty. And what a worthy cause that is, and it gets bigger every year.
Yeah, I'll say.
Leading off the 5th inning, Ray Quinones drives one deep to left center field, but Kevin McReynolds tracks it down for out number 1.
The catcher, Junior Ortiz.
Quinones with good power. He had 12 home runs the last 2 years for Seattle, coming over to the Pittsburgh Pirates from Mike Dunn, who was recently sent down to Calgary, the AAA affiliate of the Seattle Mariners.
Here's Junior Ortiz. JJ had an infield base hit and was caught stealing in the 2nd. And that breaking ball just misses. 1 ball, 1 strike. Another breaking ball outside. 2-1. Fouled out of play. 2-2. Junior, one of the great Hearts players of all time.
Number 0. The Big O. He is a character, that guy.
That number 0 has been worn by a Pirate before, Al Oliver. This one skied down the right field line. Carry on going over. Does he have room? No. Nice try by Mark, but it's a couple of rows back. So the count remains 2-2. Boy, Keith Miller went a long way, too.
Well, carry on appropriately at the fence, and that's what the ball does. Carries on. Into the 2nd row.
Stop carrying on. 1 out, nobody on. And a line drive down the right field line. Carry on the run, can't get it. Ortiz headed for 2nd, and he's going to be sent to 3rd. No, he stumbled over the bag, and he goes back to 2nd, which is a good thing because the relay throw was on the money at 3rd base, and had he continued, he probably would have been out. But it's a double for Junior, who might have hurt himself when he stumbled over second. He is limping on that leg. And Kent Biggerstaff, the Pirates trainer, is coming out of the dugout.
Mike LaValliere, the Pirates regular catcher, is on the disabled list. Rex Hudler of the Montreal Expos ran into him, sliding into him at home plate, tearing up his left leg. It would have been interesting to see Junior Ortiz go for 3. He has 1 triple in 6 years of Major League play. More importantly, Jim Leyland is hoping that one of 2 catchers. Here's an idea. Only one of those 38 Major League extra base hits for triples. Junior appears to be all right.
Sometimes if you sprain your ankle or turn your ankle and don't really severely sprain it, you can walk it off
till the next morning.
Until you try to get out of bed the next morning. Then you cannot stand up.
The pitcher, John Smiley.
I had one time that looked normal when I went to bed, and I thought I had elephantitis when I got up in the morning.
Abby normal the next day.
Abby normal, and multicolored also. John Smiley struck out looking to end the second inning, and he takes a high fastball for ball 1. Ortiz at second with 1 out. It's a 1-1 tie here in the top of the 5th inning. Ball 2. Smiley has had 1 hit in 27 at-bats this year. And he's up there now with a 2-ball, no-strike count. Now it's 3-0. So John Smiley, 1 for 27, walks on 4 pitches. And the Pirates have runners at first and second with 1 out. Second walk issued by Gooden.
One of the things that has been noticeable is that the Mets' lack of hitting has put pressure on other areas. And one of those areas is defense. And another one comes out in very subtle fashion when Doc Gooden walks a pitcher who's 1 for 27 on the season.
So Barry Bonds, the batter, he is 0 for 2, having popped up the first and struck out swinging. And he misses that breaking ball for strike 1. Barry has been on base with either a hit or a walk in 41 of the 49 games the Pirates have played this year. And that's exactly what you want your leadoff hitter to be doing. Breaking ball, tapped to first. Tuffle thought about going to second. Might have had a chance to get Smiley, but takes the play at first. So with 2 out, Ortiz moves to third and Smiley to second.
I think with 1 out, Tim would think about going to second, thereby leaving runners at first and third and 1 out. But with runners at first and second and 1 out, it's a bad play. So what an infielder does depends on how many outs there are. If there's 1 out, Tuffle doesn't want to take the chance. He'll allow Gooden the opportunity to get out lean to who's the hitter now.
And the ball really wasn't a double play ball.
No, but he's going to get the lead runner, and that way, with nobody out, that keeps the double play in effect.
Exactly. Jose leaned 0 for 2, is fly deep to center and grounded to third, and he swings and misses for strike 1. Leaping leaned. He can leap.
Can he ever?
Breaking ball stays high. 1 ball, 1 strike. Gets jammed, grounds it to short. Elster will have to hurry it over there, and he does to end the inning. So a hit and a walk and 2 left in the 5th for Pittsburgh. After 4.5, it's a 1-1 tie at Shea. And we're back after this for the American Dairy Association. We're going to the bottom of the 5th inning in a 1-1 tie here at Shea as the runs continue to be few and far between. One of the reasons is it's the same situation for the hits. Few and far between. Each team with 4 hits. The Mets have left 5 on base through the first 4. The Pirates have left 4 on through the first 5. And as we go to the bottom of the 5th inning, back in to call it again, Tim McCarver.
And I would imagine Davy Johnson would propose more runs for the Mets. And, you know, funny that we bring that up. Tonight, the proposition made to the young lady, a proposal. Her name, Mary Negron, and she was proposed to by Joseph Feza here at a Mets game, packed house, some 50,000, 45 to 50,000 on hand. And she accepted, we assume.
Well, from the kiss, I would certainly assume so.
Well, yeah, you don't turn anybody down when you kiss them. 1-1, 4 hits for each team, and Mookie Wilson takes the breaking ball. That's low.
No elaboration is necessary.
That is correct. None from me, at least.
That's right. Nor will there be any.
That is also correct. 2-0 to Mookie Wilson. Foul back. 2 balls and a strike. And you see the look on Mookie's face, and that tells you that the Mookster is struggling. Mookie, of course, a streaky hitter, and he hopes the bad streak stops and soon. Foul ball.
Boy, not by much. It was foul, and Harry Wendelstedt, one of the best umpires around, made an immediate call. Harry's a good umpire, whether he's dressed for the part or not. In his makeshift uniform tonight. Mookie'd still be running if that ball had been fair.
Ground ball towards first. Tough play. DeStefano to Smiley. Not in time. Infield hit Wilson.
John Smiley with a mild argument saying that he tagged Wilson before Wilson stepped on the bag. There's no way John could argue that he got there before Mookie did, because he just flat didn't. And John, again, falling toward third base, as left-handers do, had to turn around and get going to first. Did he tag Mookie? Doesn't look like it. And if he did tag him, it looked as if Mookie was on the bag anyway. Harry Wendelstedt gets in position to make the call. Smiley swipes at him. I don't think he touched him.
It didn't look like he did. Anyway, Wilson with an infield hit. And Keith Miller wanted to bunt. He takes the fastball high. Wilson on base in the first inning, and on an identical play, one exception, DeStefano dropped the ball. But at that time, we were talking about how Smiley had a tough time getting to first base, and it showed up then. And it's 2 balls and no strikes to Keith Miller. Keith 1 for 2. He doubled in the 3rd inning. Davy Johnson eschews sacrifices, as you can see. Popped up, Bonilla to the stand, and it's out of play. You know, Davy, some managers manage like they play. Davy Johnson definitely manages like he plays. He thinks, and I really understand this, in fact, he thinks that by sacrificing, these guys are major league hitters, not major league bunters.
Well, they've proven that, because even the guys in the lineup that should be able to bunt for the Mets have problems bunting, which is one reason why, and we've talked about it before, the Mets have a tremendous problem scoring runs when they don't hit home runs, because they are not the type of club to move runners over.
2-1 to Miller. There goes Wilson, and this one fouled out of play. That's what Davy will do. He will hit and run with his players.
And whether or not one is right and one is wrong is merely a matter of personal opinion. and also the type of ball club that you have put together.
Tommy Lasorda, for instance, along with Whitey Herzog, they definitely believe in the sacrifice.
Exactly. Not maybe to the extent someone like Gene Mock does, who would be perhaps the opposite to an extreme.
Of those 16 sacrifices, the regulars have sacrificed only 6 times, the non-pitchers, on the Mets ball club. It's 2 balls, 2 strikes to Keith Miller, with Wilson at first and nobody on, 1-1 here in the 5th. Change is high, 3-2. Bet your pantry, Mookie's going.
Not the whole house, maybe, but certainly a portion thereof.
Qualifications.
Would you throw in the Mercedes?
Yeah. There goes Wilson. This one hit deep to left field, but not deep enough. Barry Bonds under it, and he makes the play. So 1 out with Wilson retreating to first. Well, fans, whether you're in left field or just out in your backyard, exercise your right to vote. Just pick up a USA Today All-Star Fan Ballot wherever you buy Budweiser and Bud Light. Beauty is in the eyes of the beholder.
Especially when you're on this side of Spuds McKenzie.
Spuds is a lot of things, but he is not cute. Here's Mark Carrion. Grounded to third. Bonilla to second. Lean to first. A great takeout slide by Mookie Wilson. And Carrion trips over DeStefano at first base. Boy, Mookie went in there as hard as you can go. 2 out.
Carrion appears to be all right, but the other advantage, one of the other advantages that speed gives you is the ability, as Mookie does here, to make life really difficult for middle infielders. Now, this ball's hit pretty sharply, but Mookie's so fast that he's right there on lean by the time Jose is ready to get the ball away. And you see the ball hopping coming up on Benny DeStefano is the reason why he had to back up and moved into Carrion.
McReynolds swinging a miss at the high fastball. Kevin has scored the only run in the game, 1-1. The Pirates took the lead in the first with 1. The Mets retaliating in the fourth with their run. If you're running to beat out an infield hit, that's not hustling. If you're running to take out a runner at second, that's hustling.
Mookie Wilson always hustles.
That's that virtuous hustle that we've talked about on occasion. This one lifted to center. Van Slyke back and now in, and the Gold Glover squeezes it. No runs, a hit, 1 left after 5. It's still 1-1, and we're back after this from Budweiser. Jim Leyland, the manager of the Pirates, and he is a good one. Andy Van Slyke, also a good one, takes the fastball from Dwight Gooden, who is also a good one. And the hits keep right on coming.
A lot of good ones out here.
1-1 ball game, 4 hits for the Pirates. They've committed 2 errors, 5 for the Mets. They have played errorless ball, and the fastball is high, 2-0 to Andy Van Slyke.
We got some other good ones in the booth, too. The cookies that Fred Wilpon sent over.
I'll say they're good ones. Rather not talk, move that plate. That's what happens when you're hitting poorly. The plate appears to be moving. So we're hitting poorly right now.
You want that plate of cookies moved.
Away. It's 3 balls and no strikes to Andy Van Slyke. High strike, 3-1. Gooden has struck out 3. He has walked 2. Make that 4 strikeouts on the night. High, ball 4. So Van Slyke is on. He stole second base in the first inning, his 4th steal of the year. And Bobby Bonilla will be the batter. Strike one on the curveball. Let's make a correction on those strikeouts. 5 strikeouts now for Doc Gooden. And Bonilla, as is his penchant, hammering his batting helmet. He does that more than anybody in the National League. High, ball one.
Well, some guys do it out of frustration, exasperation. Other guys, well, I guess he's the only other guy who just does it out of habit.
Okay.
At least he grimaces before he does it in preparation for the contact. But he'll do that just about every at bat.
He really will. 1-1 to Bobby with Van Slyke at first base. Top of the 6th inning of a 1-1 ball game. Another packed house here at Shea. Close to balking on that fastball, and it's strike 2. A ball and 2 strikes.
Well, you talk about the hits just keep on happening. Mitchell with his 2nd home run. Oh.
Curveball foul, still 1-2.
He hit his 15th of the year against the Mets in San Francisco during this past week, and was hit 2 in Atlanta tonight. 17 home runs, 51 RBIs on the year. There are guys in the league, both leagues for that matter, who hit 17 home runs, drove in 51 runs in a whole season, who make a lot of money.
There goes Van Slyke. Fastball is high. The throw, not in time. Lyons did everything he could to throw out Van Slyke. But that was the point earlier that Ralph and I made about that coming set to the shoulders. That Gooden, he doesn't get rid of the ball home any quicker.
Nope. And it's just not as effective. He's way up by his head. This is Van Slyke's 2nd stolen base of the game and his 5th of the year. He was out for 22 games this year, and boy, do they miss him when he's not in that lineup.
Ground ball toward first, foul. Still 2-2 to Bobby Bonilla.
Compare the 22 games that Van Slyke missed already this season with the rib muscle injury in his rib cage.
Broken rib, right?
Right. To last year, when all of the season he sat out only 6 games total for various reasons.
Gooden in trouble. Van Slyke on 2nd. Nobody out. Bonilla stays alive. Still 2-2. Bonilla has struck out and walked in this game. He's 0 for 1. Milt May, the hitting instructor of the Pirates, watching on with Jim Leland. Inside, it almost hit Bonilla in the knee. Barry Lyons wants the swing. I don't think Bonilla even came close to that, did he?
I don't think so, and certainly Bill Hahn, the 3rd base umpire, doesn't think so. Bonilla's just trying to get out of the way. Sure, his bat went across the plate, but his bat was going one way and he was going the other.
Yeah, I could see Barry Lyons, see what he means, but once he lets go of the bat, he's just trying to get out of the way. No swing there. 3-2 to Bonilla. One game here in the 6th inning. Curveball gets Bonilla. Strikeout number 6 for Gooden. 1 out, and a big one.
Right fielder, RJ.
As a pitcher, when you have a runner in scoring position, and in particular in a tie game or close game, the ability to get that out without the base runner advancing to 3rd with 1 out could be the biggest out of the inning. And so Van Slyke remains at 2nd.
R.J. Reynolds takes a fastball for a strike. 0-1 to Shoes.
Who owns a pair or two.
150 at last count. Man loves shoes. He was tagged that nickname on him when he was a member of the Dodgers. Curveball, and 0-2 to Shoes.
That got a piece of Barry Lyons as Shoes fouled it off. Shoes has always hit the Mets well, whether he's been a Dodger or a Pirate. Against Dwight Gooden, he's had 10 hits and 36 at bats. So that's pretty close to the 300 mark right there.
He's driven in the only run of the ninth for the Pirates back in the first inning. Gooden steps off. Van Slyke with 2 stolen bases already tonight is at second base. 1 out, 1-1 game here in the 6th inning. And Reynolds stays alive.
One thing that's been very apparent since the first inning, and that is that Doc has some stuff going for him tonight. He's had real good velocity, with his fastball, as evidenced by the fact that both right-handers and left-handers are fouling it off the other way continuously. And his breaking ball has been what has gotten him the majority of the 6 strikeouts that he has so far.
Swing and a miss, and Reynolds down on strike, going at ball 1. That ball way over R.J.'s head. 2 outs here in the 6th.
Well, R.J. better go see if he has a pair of platform shoes in that collection to get up high enough to get on top of this ball. This thing's out of the strike zone, and once he started the swing, he just couldn't hold up. 7 Ks.
And Benny DeStefano was one of them in the first inning, and he takes a curveball for a strike. No balls, 1 strike to Benny. Benny from Brooklyn, entertaining his father in the Pittsburgh dugout before the game tonight. Ball 1, 1-1.
And he learned how to chew that gum in Brooklyn, too. He is a
Lafayette High School.
New York native.
Line drive, left field. McReynolds over and in and makes the play.
Got to be raking in the money, so this is for him. The Sears Financial Update. The market was up today, 27.20. How about that one? And gold and silver were both up a bit, so things are popping, and that's the look at Wall Street for today, brought to you by Sears.
Howard Johnson leads it off here in the bottom of the 6th. 1-1 game, 5 hits for the Mets, 4 for the Pirates. Hojo on the evening is 0 for 2. One ball, no strikes to Howard Johnson.
Howard's working on a 6-game hitting streak, and he's hit in 9 of his last 10, but he hasn't exactly been tearing it up during that time. You'd have to say, however, as his power has fallen off dramatically, as you see in the last couple of weeks, over the course of the season so far, he's been the most consistent hitter for New York.
Strike 1, 1-1.
Howard with a questioning comment to Ed Montague, the home plate umpire.
Ooh, foul tip, 1-2. A lot of people think that doesn't hurt when you get hit because that mask keeps spinning around on the face.
Grinds it right into your head. Hojo didn't like the previous call, so give Eddie something to think about. Obviously, there's no way that actually happened, but it's kind of ironic when you think about it.
Ball and 2 strikes to Johnson. And Smiley gets him with the high fastball. Smiley has 2 strikeouts, both Howard Johnson, 1 out.
And both times he's gotten Howard Johnson with a fastball. And Hojo rarely gets beat with a fastball, but as you've said before, Timmy, It's not the pitch you strike him out on, it's how you got there. And he has really done a great job of setting Howard up and then using the fastball, and both times really out of the strike zone, or at least close to it, to strike out Hoja.
High, ball one. The Mets offense recently likened to a pair of quality ladies' hose, as the runs have been very tough to come by. It's 1-1 to Tuffle.
And who has likened the Mets offense to that?
No one knows.
No one but you.
No one cares either. Ground ball towards short. Quinones, tough play. Tuffle with an infield hit. So Tuffle at first with one out, and the Mets will try to push him around.
Tuffle hits it off the end of the bat. It's that little turnover changeup on the outside part of the plate. Quinones does all he can do, and in trying to make the throw on the run, he pulls Penny DeStefano off the bag. That is the 6th hit of the night for New York.
And Barry Lyons, who has been the hottest Met hitter of late, is the batter. He drove in the only run of the game with a single in the 4th inning, plating Kevin McReynolds. Tuffle at first, 1 out, 1-1 in the 6th. Ripped by Bonilla at third, and Tuffle will go to at least third base. Fielded cleanly by Bonds. Tuffle stops at third, and Lyons stops at second. Boy, Barry Lyons has been exactly that, a lion of late.
He is really locked in. He drove in the Mets run in the 4th inning with a base hit to left field. He lined out to Bonilla his first time up, so he's all over Bobby Bonilla as he just rockets this one between Bonilla and the bag. Bonds makes a good play and got the ball back in quickly, but the Mets have runners at second and third with 1 out.
So Elster is up. Gooden is on deck. 1 out, second and third. Tuffle does not have good speed. For that reason, the Pirates infield about halfway. About halfway. We'll see if they move up with the pitch. Montreal does that. We'll see if Jim Leland has his infielders do it. And a pitch out. You know what they might do? They might pitch out 4 times, thinking that Davy Johnson will put the squeeze on. It's not a bad play, but they're going to walk him intentionally now.
Leland wanted to find out if, in fact, the squeeze was on.
Yeah.
And Davy tried to squeeze earlier in the game. So now they'll load the bases for the doctor.
Think about that now. If you're going to walk a hitter intentionally, if you pitch out 4 times, and we've seen that done, not this year, but we've seen it done in past years, you have first base open anyway. So you just get back there, make it look like you're going to pitch to the hitter, and maybe the opposing manager will put on the squeeze play. Davey did that with Gooden his last at bat. Gooden failed to get the runner across, and then he grounded into a double play. And here comes Jim Leland to talk to John Smiley.
And the situation in which Doc was punting, trying to get the runner home from third, was very similar to this because the same 3 guys were on base. And Tuffle was at that time also the runner at third.
I think Leland is just telling his infielders, this is good policy. Go out and tell them exactly what to do when a ball is hit to them. If the ball is hit slowly, as you see the right-hander Jeff Robinson and left-hander Roger Samuel, if the ball is hit slowly to the infielders, they'll come home with the ball because of Gooden's speed. So Doc Gooden with a golden opportunity to help his own cause. 1-1 game. Bases loaded. 1 out here in the 6th. No balls, 1 strike to Gooden. Tuffle at third base. Lyons at second. Elster at first. 0-1 to Gooden. 1 out here in the 6th. Foul back, and that was his pitch. No balls, 2 strikes to Doc.
Just another ball up in the strike zone, and Doc, who likes to extend those arms, was able to do that, but fouled it back.
Swing and a miss. Gooden down on strike. Strikeout number 3 for John Smiley. Boy, was that a big one for him. So John 2/3 away up the hill.
Center fielder, Mookie Wilson.
Base is still loaded. 2 outs now. Mookie Wilson has been on base twice. He's 1 for 3. Ball 1. On deck batter Keith Miller. Ground ball up the middle. Shortstop Quinones to lean for the 3rd out. So the Mets again threaten. They have now stranded 10 through 6 innings. The woes continue. Ralph Kiner joins Steve after this from the 9X Yellow Pages.
John Smiley standing on the top step of the dugout. Got himself out of trouble for the 2nd time in 3 innings. Actually, the Mets have had base runners on and in scoring position in half of the innings so far. 3 of the 6. Actually, they had a runner in scoring position in the 1st as well, so 4 of the 6 innings. And in the 4th and in the 6th, Smiley in bases loaded situations between the 2 innings has only given up the 1 run. So the charmed life continues, but that's the way it's been for opposing pitchers against the Mets quite consistently of late, as the Mets have been unable to get people home. And as Ray Quinones leads off the 7th inning of this 1-1 tie, back in again, here is Ralph Kiner.
All right, Steve, and Ray Quinones is the leadoff batter, and he gets a curveball, but it hangs high for ball 1. Quinones 0 for 2 has flied out to the outfield the 2 times he has been up. The last time, a good play on the ball by McReynolds, and this time he pops it up.
Well, who's going to take it? Tim Tuffle finally comes in and takes charge. Barry Lyons was there. Kevin Elster. Howard Johnson pulled off. Doc Gooden was calling, and nobody wanted to take the ball. One of the things, and this was pointed out in the newspaper today, and I can't remember exactly which article it was, which writer here in New York. Another factor that the Mets are dealing with right now is Keith Hernandez not being on the infield. And nobody is really the boss out there. Nobody has been the leader since Keith has been on the DL. And that play sort of showed it, Ralph, right there.
Well, the pitch back is in there for a call strike. Yeah, I think you called it pretty good, Steve. Nobody wanted any part of that thing.
You got it, I'll take. Wait, you got it. No, you take it, I got it.
A lot of room held out there.
That's right.
And that pitch, a breaking ball to Junior Ortiz, and they count 1 ball, 1 strike. Junior with a double his last time up. 2 for 2 in this game. Gets another curveball and a ball called by home plate umpire Ed Montague. Ortiz hitting in the 8th batting position, and he fouls the fastball back out of play. Junior Ortiz last year hit .373 at Three River Stadium. He's really found a home there. Overall, he hit .280 for the year in 49 ball games. And he hits another base hit. So Ortiz 3 for 3.
Well, Junior has said he loves to hit against the Mets. And that's not unlike a lot of guys who once played for a team and then were traded away. They seem to do a little better, in some cases a whole lot better, against that team than they do the rest of the league.
So a runner at first with 1 out. The Mets have a short conference at the mound. Ortiz, of course, a fastball hitter, and the Mets with fastball pitchers as a rule.
That could be a big part of it.
John Smiley, the batter, in a bunting situation. He squares and bunts on the ball and misses. So it's strike one. Smiley was struck out his first time up. And he walked on 4 pitches his next time up. 1 strike to count. Johnson, the third baseman, right on top of the batter. And then he bunts again and misses. It's strike 2.
That was kind of a half-hearted effort by Smiley. One of the things you should do in bunting is either bunt at the ball, make an effort, or get the bat out of there. Because a half-hearted attempt is more often than not going to be called a strike, or you may foul the ball off. So if you're not going to go ahead and bunt, pull the bat back.
And the 2-strike pitch runs high, and it's 1-2. Smiley not known for his hitting. He's 1 for 27 in his batting attempts so far this year. Reds still looking for the sacrifice. Ortiz a pretty good runner. Smiley squares early and takes the curveball. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Well, the fastball, the toughest pitch to bunt, and when Smiley is indicating the bunt all the way, you wonder why they go to the curveball.
Give him the high cheese. Give him a high, hard one.
And the 2-2 pitch. This time he swings and strikes out. So Smiley, for the second time, is struck out. 8th strikeout for Gooden. That time he got the fastball. Now with 2 men away, the batter will be Barry Bonds. Barry is 0 for 3.
Left fielder, Barry Bonds.
Here's Doc's line through 6 2/3. Striking out 8 and walking 3. He's now struck out 74 on the year.
Bonds, one of the strikeout victims in this game, is 0 for 3. And the fastball fouled back out of play. Gooden right into Barry Bonds' kitchen.
Bonds has hit Doc well so far in his young career. 321 coming into the game with a couple of home runs, but he's 0 for 3 so far tonight.
Not the only pitcher he's hit on the Mets. His lifetime record 201 against the Mets pitchers, including the 300-plus average against Gooden. That ball fouled away again. He's behind the pitch, strike 2.
And again, that's an indication of the kind of velocity that Gooden has thrown tonight. As fastball hitters, by and large, no matter whether they be left-handed or right-handed hitters, have been behind his pitches.
So a 2-strike count. Ortiz a short lead at first, and again Gooden with a fastball. Again, it's a foul ball. Barry Bonds, part of the unit that has really turned Pittsburgh into a baseball city once again. Back in 1986, the Mets beat the Pirates 17 of 18 games played. And the curveball just does miss. The best record ever compiled. When they used to play a 154-game season, you played 22 games with each team. No one ever won all 22. 21-1 was the best record ever put together. Several teams did that. And the breaking ball is low, 2-2.
Well, I guess that's a record that won't be broken unless there's some serious realignment, because unless there's some serious realignment, you're not going to play one team 22 times in a season.
Well, if they expand again, there'll be even less games against each club. Right. And the foul ball.
The only way it could happen is if they expanded into, as some have proposed, 4 divisions that play games within themselves. But I don't think that would do very well, because one thing that baseball has done over the last 10 or 15 years is become even more popular. So why mess with it?
And the curveball hit out to right field. Carry on moving over toward the foul line. And he makes the catch, and that retires the side. So a base hit and 1 left, and the score. At the end of 6.5 innings, it's the Pirates 1, the Mets 1, and here's a word from Bud.
I'll tell you something. That's as close as I'd ever come, too.
I'll never forget Bing, of course, owned part of the Pittsburgh Pirates when I played there, and he was announcing the play-by-play in a baseball game, and I hit a home run, And Rosie Rosewell, who was the announcer for the Pirates, grabbed the microphone right out of Bing's hand to describe the home run I hit. Took the only time that Crosby ever lost a microphone.
And why did he do that, Rob? I mean, why would you do that to Bing, of all people?
I guess Rosie, just like the old fire horse, you know, he had to go and answer the bell.
The bell rang, he responded.
Well, we're in the bottom half of the 7th inning, 1-1 ball game, and for the Mets, the leadoff batter, Keith Miller. Miller in this game with a double and 3 at-bats, and he hits this one deep down the left field line that's foul out of play. Miller, not much of a home run hitter. He has had one. Capacity crowd here at Shea Stadium, and this ball game a 1-1 pitcher's duel, and that pitcher called strike. 1 ball and 2 strikes. John Smiley came into this game with a record of 5-2. One of the wins against the Mets. He's 5-1 lifetime. And he breaks off the curveball in the dirt. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Smiley with a lifetime record of 24-18.
Ron always tough against the Mets.
And he strikes out Keith Miller. 4 strikeouts.
Here's the Nissan National League scoreboard this evening. In the 8th inning, Montreal and the Phillies tied at 1. In the bottom of the 7th, those Giants with Kevin Mitchell's 2 homers, leading 6-2 over Atlanta. Bottom of the 7th, Cincinnati leads the Padres 8-4. In the 4th, Chicago 2, St. Louis nothing. And in the bottom of the 4th, LA at Houston, no score.
Phillies currently working on an 8-game losing streak as you look at Mark Carrion. First pitch, a fastball, ball 1. Carrion 0 for 3. Hit foul into the stands. 1 ball, 1 strike.
One of the things about the on-deck circle, and this is true in every park you go to. See the Mets circle? That's the on-deck circle. Nobody stands in it. All the players stand to the inside, meaning toward behind home plate. And see that patch where Kevin McReynolds is standing? Pete Flynn and the ground crew have to replace that.
And a broken bat bloop into right field. Lean goes back and makes the catch as the head of that bat went into the stand.
I hope nobody is hurt, as that bat head went about 10 or 12 rows back. Here's the Nissan American League scoreboard. Here's the bat. Here's the rest of the bat. Now, there's a souvenir, but look at the end of that thing. That is sharp. Look at this woman in front of that kid. She's had a heart attack about twice already.
Boy.
Now, that is amazing. Look at the little baby there, too. This is amazing. Nobody was hurt. Carrion gets sawed off right here. He hits the ball right on the trademark, and all that's left in his hand is the handle. Look at Smiley duck, and the ball was in the air. The bat went over the Pirates' dugout and back around 10 rows. Amazing.
Fortunate occurrence right there, as no one was hit by that bat, as you look at Kevin McReynolds.
Well, we'll talk more about the on-deck circle and the American League scoreboard later.
And another foul tip hitting Ed Montague, who's been hit a couple of times in this ball game with foul tips on the mat.
Look at the on-deck circle, though. See how the players stand? That's because most parks are designed to make it easy to walk from the dugout. But standing there, you put yourself in jeopardy of getting the ball fouled off and hitting you. So they always stand to the side, and that piece of grass continually gets worn out.
Another one hit down the left field line foul. But you know, if you move that circle,
same thing
made out of
happen.
linoleum, they wouldn't stand on it anyway.
That's right, because of the spikes. It's a rubberized surface, and all they use it for is to put the gear in. And you can go over to the visiting side, and exactly the same thing is true.
And the change of pace, it's out of the strike zone. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
And no matter what park you go to, if it has natural grass in it, that area to the left of the first base dugout and to the right of the third base dugout is always worn out.
And McReynolds takes just off the plate. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
And the groundskeepers hate it. They say, look, we cut this dirt here. We give you a place, and you guys go tear our grass up all the time.
They used to yell that at the outfielders. Move around, you're killing the grass. And that pitch, a ball, it's 3 balls and 2 strikes. McReynolds 1 for 3 tonight. He has flied out to the center fielder Van Slyke 2 times and has singled the left. He has scored the only run for the Mets when the Mets tied it up in the 4th. And it stands at 1-1 here in the 7th. And McReynolds works out a walk.
So now we'll bring you the Nissan American League scoreboard, which we were going to a moment ago. In the 7th, Toronto leads Boston 3-2. Bottom of the 7th, Baltimore over Detroit 4-1. Top of the 5th, Yankees trailing 1-0 against the Brewers. In the 3rd inning, Minnesota leads the White Sox 2-0. Kansas City at California, Texas at Seattle, and Oakland hosting Cleveland later on the left coast.
The surprising Baltimore Orioles and Cleveland Indians. And now, Howard Johnson, the batter. Howard has struck out twice. He also has grounded out. There goes McReynolds, a big jump, and he'll have second base. No contest.
Kevin with his 2nd stolen base of the night, his 10th of the year. And you're right, Rob. Look at this huge jump. He's a third of the way there by the time the ball leaves Smiley's hand. And Junior Ortiz, who has a terrific arm, has no chance.
So the Mets with a runner in scoring position. 2 men out. 1 strike count to Howard Johnson. And he goes after a bad pitch. It's strike 2.
Ojo has struck out his last 2 at-bats against Smiley on that very same pitch, a high fastball. Still can't lay off it.
Johnson with 27 runs batted in, the club leader. And right here, a chance to put the Mets up. 2 strikes to count. Goes again for that fastball and is struck out. 3rd time that Howard Johnson has struck out. 5th strikeout for John Smiley. It ends the inning. The Mets get a walk and leave 1. They've now left 10. And the score at the end of 7. It's the Mets 1 and the Pirates 1. Here's a word from your Lincoln Mercury dealer. The 8th inning, a 1-1 ball game. The Mets about hit the Pirates 7-5. And the Pirates coming up here in the 8th inning with Jose Lean to lead it off. Lean 0 for 3. And Doc Gooden on the mound. He starts off with a fastball for ball 1. Lean hitting .223. Gooden has struck out 8. Gets a strike with a fastball. 1 ball, 1 strike. Gooden's lifetime mark against the Pirates, 8 wins and 4 losses. And he misses again with a fastball, 2-1. Gooden needs 3 more victories to have 100 in his very short major league career, but he would not be the youngest to win 100. Bob Feller, who started earlier in his career, has that distinction. And a fastball hit hard to left, the base hit. Lean leads it off here in the 8th with a clean single.
Jose, in his brief stint against the Doctor, now with 4 hits in 19 at-bats. He's 1 for 4 tonight. This one just rocketed past third baseman Howard Johnson.
Andy Van Slyke.
And that brings up the dangerous Andy Van Slyke.
I think Jose needs another gold chain. He's only got 3 or 4 on at once.
Van Slyke in this game, a single and a run scored in 2 official at-bats. He also has walked and stolen a base. And Gooden over to first. Pirates have 45 stolen bases in 60 attempts. They utilize the hit-and-run play considerably. Van Slyke, of course, has outstanding power. And he hits it in the air to right field. Carry on back to the edge of the warning track, and he makes the catch. lean back to first base. So they keep Van Slyke in the ballpark.
And they do it with the wind blowing from the left field corner to the right field corner. And when this ball went up, Andy Van Slyke hitting it high in the air, it looked like it had a chance to get out of here, especially the way the wind was blowing. Carry on back properly, going back first to the fence to know where he is, and then he came in and caught the ball right on the edge of the warning track.
And with the warmer, lighter air, the ball carrying much better now that it has warmed up to a summer-type evening. Now Phenia, the batter, and he fouls off a fastball, strike one. Phenia has struck out twice. Once on a fastball, once in the curve. He also has walked. Degrees. That's about 2 times warmer than it has been since the Mets last played here. Throw to first base. Phenia last year off to a terrific start. He hit .341 in April, and in May he also had a good year, good month, batting .344. The fastball for ball 1-1. Phenia ended up hitting .274 for the year, so he finished very slowly. Did have 24 home runs, 100 runs batted in. Came into this game hitting .368 against Doc Gooden. One and one the count. 2 balls, 1 strike.
The Mets employ the radar gun during games, and Joe Fitzgerald, who's in charge of videotaping the hitters and pitchers and operates the gun when the Mets are pitching, stands behind home plate. And the radar gun is, there's Fitzy right there. The radar gun is somewhat of an indication, but you can make with it what you want. And Mel Stottlemyre's coming out, and he wants to have Ed Montague, the home plate umpire, be sure that he's going to check to be sure Dwight Gooden is physically okay and not count this as a trip to the mound. But anyway, the radar gun has shown that Doc has been consistently averaging around 92 miles an hour with his fastball tonight. And whether or not he has any physical problem remains to be seen. But I guess, Ralph, that's what you would have to deduce from Mel Stottlemyre, A, being the one to go out, and B, going to home plate umpire Ed Montague.
Well, you can check with a trip to the mound if it is a physical problem. Evidently, the Mets thought that maybe Doc had a problem. Some pitchers won't tell you when they're hurt.
How about most pitchers? Most players? Well, maybe not most players, but a lot of guys.
One time, you never told anybody you were hurt because you might get taken out of the lineup and never get back in. Happened to Wally Pipp. Said he had a headache. They took him out of the lineup, and Lou Gehrig took his place and played 2,130 consecutive games after that.
And Wally got a lot of splinters in a...
He also got traded. He was a pretty good ball player. 2-2. There goes the runner. A big jump. But the ball fouled off, and Jose Lane had second base stolen. There's no doubt about it. He was about a third of the way down before the ball was even released by Doc Gooden.
Similar to the jump Kevin McReynolds got in the last half inning when he stole his second base of the game. Boy, Jose, look at the stride. Look how much ground is between the front and the rear foot. Jose Lane can really motor. He is some kind of athlete.
2 balls, 2 strikes. He goes again, and it's taken high. The throw by Lyons is a good throw, but not in time. And another stolen base for the Pirates.
Pittsburgh now has been successful in 3 of 4 attempts in this ball game, and Jose Lane is 4 for 4 this year. Our director, Jeff Mitchell, points out, maybe if you take the chains off Jose, you'd never catch him. He's 4 for 4 this year with the chains. You ought to run more often and take the chains off. He'd lead the league.
And this pitch is hit in the air to shallow left field. Going back is Elster to make the call and catch. And 2 men out as Lean stays at second. Well, he's probably being handicapped. You know how they do to horses?
That's
they
right,
put so much weight on them.
Carry some extra weight because he's too good. There's Gary Reedus loosening up in the Pirates dugout. Perhaps in anticipation of pinch hitting. We're in the top of the 8th inning of a 1-1 tie. Glenn Wilson also has a bat. He didn't start tonight.
And they're going to walk R.J. Reynolds intentionally here to get to the next batter. Reynolds has a single and a run batted in. He drove in the Pirate 1 run back in the first inning. Then since then has struck out twice on fastball. But right here, Davy Johnson says, I'm going to put him on. He's hit 1 home run in his major league career against Doc Gooden. It came on opening day in Pittsburgh a couple of years ago. So that will be Gooden's 4th walk in this game. And it will bring up Benny DeStefano. Benny has struck out, grounded out, and lined out. 1-1 ball game. The Pirates with runners at first and second base. And Gooden starts him off with a curve.
Brooklyn Benny. Family and friends. I bet Benny had a few lines on a pass list in the clubhouse this afternoon.
Well, now that he's a major league catcher in his spare time, get a little more famous. And again, the curveball. 1-1. He went to spring training, and they had him catch some games in spring training in anticipation of using him at times, and they used him earlier this year as a catcher.
Well, this is Randall K. Meyer's argument. Why can't a left-hander catch?
Ground ball to the shortstop, Elster, and he has no play at second. Crosses over to first base to pick up the out. 1 hit, a walk, and 2 men left. The score at the end of 7.5 innings. The Pirates won, the Mets won, and here's a word from the good old guys.
Eternity, better known as Mookie, figured in our Mets memory tonight, brought to you by the Wiz. It was June 5th, 1987. Doc Gooden pitching, and watch this. Lip to lip, Len Dykstra and Mookie Wilson off a drive by Sid Bream of the Pirates. Mookie held on to the ball as he holds it up semi-conscious. The Mets won the game 5-1 that night. And Len Dykstra and Mookie Wilson survived. Remember, nobody beats the Wiz. Bottom of the 8th inning. 1-1 tie. And Tim Tuffle leading it off for New York. I mean, you want to get close to your teammates, but that's ridiculous, right?
Not all memories are good. That's the point of that one.
It's a headache looking to happen. Gary Reedus checking the bat. As in the 9th inning, John Smiley is the scheduled 3rd hitter. Tuffle with a fly ball to right field, and R.J. Reynolds has the bead, has the ball, and there's 1 out. You're watching Mets Baseball 89 on WWOR-TV, Secaucus, New Jersey. So Tuffle 1 for 3 on the night, and the batter will be Barry Lyons, who right now is hitting better than anybody else in the New York lineup. Barry hitting .338 on the year. Has been a very able replacement for Gary Carter.
Hit the ball well in tonight's game. 2 for 3, extended his hitting streak to 10 consecutive games.
And he lined out his first at bat. Breaking ball for a ball. Barry with an RBI single in the 4th and a double to left field in the 6th. Greg Jeffries getting ready to swing the bat. Doc Gooden is scheduled up 4th here in the bottom of the 8th. The doctor does not have a complete game this year. John Smiley has 3. Fastball too high, 2-0. Barry has also hit in 15 of his last 16 games, hitting .400. 3-0. Kevin Elster on deck. Ball 4. The Lions is on base for the third consecutive at bat. Second walk issued by Smiley. Jim Leland out of the Pittsburgh dugout. And he will meander to the mound. And we'll see if he's going to replace Smiley. He certainly has pitched well. John has struck out 4 and walked 2. He's given up the 1 run on 7 hits. And the doctor has done better than that. He has given up a run on 5 hits. He has struck out 8. He has walked 4, one of them intentionally. So Smiley stays in the game as Leland goes back to the dugout.
Well, the Pirates are without their ace reliever, Jim Gott.
Jim Gott, who had arthroscopic elbow surgery and has gone home to Utah, is not even with the club anymore and is expected to miss the entire season. Now it looks like we're going to have a pinch runner as Len Dykstra comes out of the New York dugout, replacing Barry Lyons at first base. And Lyons will get a well-deserved hand for another good night.
Ladies and gentlemen, your attention, please. Running for Barry Lyons.
So the tie-breaking run at first, and the person now of Len Dykstra, the pinch hitter, with Kevin Elster, the batter. One out in the bottom of the 8th, tied at 1. Smiley had Dykstra going back to first base as he gets a strike to Kevin Elster. And Kevin is 0 for 2. He reached on an error in the 4th inning and walked intentionally in the 6th. After grounding out in the 3rd. Dykstra only a couple of steps off the bat.
Dykstra leads the club in stolen bases with 10. Last year he had 30. That also led the club.
Lenny has not been thrown out this year. And he's running. Pitch is high. Ortiz throw is low. And Dykstra still hasn't been thrown out this year.
Well, if Smiley had just gone over to first base that time, he had Dykstra. Dykstra made his break before he delivered the ball. Right here, he's gone. And he gets a tremendous jump. Ortiz has no chance. Not a good throw, but handled well out there. You see that Lenny Dykstra has that big jump and no chance to throw him out at all, even with a perfect throw. So the Mets have the go-ahead run at second.
Dykstra at second with 1 out. 1-1 the count to Kevin Elster. High fastball fouled out of play. 1-2. Elster hitting just .217. Started off like a house of fire, but the fire department showed up with a lot of hoses. Grounded foul, still 1-2. Greg Jeffries on deck as a pinch hitter for Dwight Gooden. to second as Jose leaned. The second baseman was moving toward the bag. Foul back again. Still 1 ball, 2 strikes. Elster batting with 1 out. Len Dykstra, the runner, at second. Bottom of the 8th, and the score tied at 1. Mackie Sasser will come into the game behind the plate for Barry Lyons, for whom Len Dykstra is pinch running. And again, Smiley with that fake to second, and this time Leand was not moving near the bag. Grounded up the middle. Quinones gets Elster as Dykstra moves to third, now with 2 outs.
Well, once again, a poorly hit ball here with a runner in scoring position. Quinones handles a difficult hop. Ball took a little bit of a bad bounce, but still he made the play and gets his man as Dykstra crosses over to third. So the Mets now have a runner at third, and Greg Jeffries will be the pinch hitter for Doc Gooden.
Jeffries hitting just 187 on the year, but he does have 15 RBIs. And when you consider the fact that Kevin McReynolds has 18, 15 doesn't look too bad. Strike 1. Popped up into short right field. R.J. Reynolds calls for it, and the inning is over, and the Mets strand another one. They have stranded 11 through 8, and we go to the 9th tied at 1 after this for AT&T. For Barry Lyons, who was lifted for the pinch runner, and Randall K. Myers is the new pitcher replacing Doc Gooden.
And Randy with a record of 5 wins, 1 loss. He's had 7 saves, an earned run average of 0.95. He's walked 10, struck out 35, given up 15 hits in 28 and a third innings. And the opposition has hit just 156 against him this year.
9th inning of a 1-1 tie. Greg Jeffries making the final out of the 8th inning, pinch hitting for Gooden as he hits it down near the trademark and pops it to right field. And Darryl Strawberry, who's not in the lineup, a little consolation and I'm sure advice for Jeffries in the dugout between innings. Straw was in a good position to see Jeffries swing since Greg was batting right-handed. Ray Quinones with a count of 1 strike leading off the 9th inning, and he fouls it back off Mackie Sasser. Welcome to the game, Mackie. Strike 2. Quinones tonight 0 for 3 is flying to left twice and popped out to first. And he's out of there on 3 pitches as Myers picks up his first strikeout. Looks like a lot of guys in the Pirate dugout are ready to go up and hit.
Maybe they're putting their bats away.
Yeah. I was going to say, they're probably putting them back after that. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. See John Cangelosi loosening up. Junior Ortiz is the scheduled hitter.
Your attention, please.
And Myers will take a casual repose.
Number 44, John Cangelosi.
While he waits. Randall will only walk onto the mound, the dirt part, from that particular position. And when he finishes, falling off a little toward third, like all left-handed pitchers, if the ball is not hit in play, he will walk around in a small circle in front of third base and come back up that side of the mound. So he's waiting there. And now taking his position is Cangelosi will be the pinch hitter, hitting 167.
As a pinch hitter, he's 4 for 24 with no runs batted in.
Junior Ortiz is probably saying to Jim Leyland, how can you hit for me, Skip? I'm 3 for 3 tonight. Down low, ball 1. And it's hard to be low to Cangelosi, who is only about 5'6", if that. Cangelosi hitting 167 as a pinch hitter, 205 overall. Did he swing? Harry Wendelstedt will get the appeal and says yes, he did. So it's 1 ball, 1 strike.
Well, he starts to swing and then almost falls down as he tries to hold it up, as he does fall down. Harry in his new apparel, right out of Esquire.
Well, he's got an umpire's shirt on, but that's about it.
Had to borrow that one, I guess.
Yeah. 2 balls, 1 strike. At least he's got a National League shirt on. He's got a Mets hat. Probably those are the slacks he wore to the ballpark.
Wear him out to dinner tonight.
Sure, why not? Broken bat, foul ball. Cangelosi will repair to the dugout.
Cangelosi did a good job as a pinch hitter for the Pirates last year. He was 12 for 42 at 286 average. He had 5 walks, so his on-base percentage was good, 375.
You know, you ordinarily see the number 44 on big guys, like Reggie Jackson and
Willie McCovey.
David Cohn wears it on the Mets. He's not huge, but he's a big guy. It's unusual to see a diminutive player wearing a number like 44. Those are the guys at number 1.
How about Henry Aaron?
Hank? Possibly the most famous 44, right up there with Willie McCovey. High and away. 3 balls and 2 strikes to Cangelosi. If you think John didn't shave today, he probably shaved right before the game. He always looks like that. Still 3 and 2. He's got that Fearless Fosdick beard. Isn't that the guy in the comic strips?
Fearless Fosdick?
Yeah.
I don't know. Dick Tracy?
No, not Dick Tracy. Fearless
I don't
Fosdick.
read that stuff.
Well, that was years ago, Ralphie. That's why I'm asking you. No, I'm only kidding. I think there was a guy named Fearless Fosdick in the comic strips who always had a beard. He always had stubble, like Cangelosi, who just walked. So that's the first walk issued by Myers. Cangelosi will be at first with 1 out.
That's his 11th walk, so he's been getting on base as a pinch hitter.
Now, I'm only kidding about John not, actually shaving before the game. He probably did not shave today, but he just has that dark beard. You get a report from the control room as John Smiley is out of the game and receives congratulations on a fine outing. That Fearless Fosdick was a part of the Little Abner comic strip. I knew he was somewhere. Everybody has to be somewhere. Right, Billy? Robbie, how you doing, pal? You know about Fearless Fosdick, don't you, Robert? Yeah, see? There you go. There you go. You're too handsome to let it grow, though, pal. Gotta have that clean-shaven look. Well, Gary Reedus is going to be the pinch hitter, as he's had a bat for about 2 innings, and now they're going to let him use it. He will hit for John Smiley.
You can't understand what they're trying to do, because those pinch hitters should be there and ready to come on up, and Ed Montague is letting the Pirates get away with it. That's tough on a pitcher.
Well, that's why I said he's had a bat for 2 innings. I mean, he's been acting like Leland told him, hey, you're going to be hitting for Smiley or somebody. He should have been ready to go. Gary, as a pinch hitter, hitting .333, .283 overall. Cangelosi at first with one out. And it's high and away, ball one. One and one. Myers in relief of Gooden, who went 8 innings, giving up 1 run on 5 hits. He struck out 8. He walked 4, 1 intentionally. As we are in the top of the 9th inning, and the game is tied at 1. Cangelosi draws a throw. Cangelosi has stolen 6 bases in 7 attempts. Myers over there again. Ripped to left field. McReynolds over to cut it off. Cangelosi will go to third, and the throw will go to second, but nobody's at second. Tuffle gets the ball. Cangelosi caught between third and home. Sasser runs him back, and Johnson tags him out.
Well, the Mets play a misplay into a good play. McReynolds makes a super play to get to this ball, and he made a great throw to second. Unfortunately, Miller, who is supposed to cover at second, is not there. Throw goes over the bag. Tuffle gets to it. Here's the cutoff and the throw to second. Cangelosi now rounding third as the ball goes right over the bag, and then Cangelosi is trapped between home and third on the play by Tuffle.
Barry Bonds fouls it out of play. That was your routine 7-3 to 2-5. You see this every day.
Sasser almost holds the ball too long before he finally throws it, but fortunately Johnson gets it just in time to make the tag.
And a good play by Tuffle to get over there and back it up. High and away to Bonds. 1 ball, 1 strike. McReynolds, as usual, made a perfect one-hop throw to the second base bag. And the runner, Reedus, would have been out at second if anybody had been there to take it. But Tuffle hustling back into the second base position to get the ball and throw it home, and eventually they got Cangelosi as Sasser chased him back. A breaking ball to Barry Bonds, and it's 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Well, the other point of that play is, why was Tuffle at first base? He should have been the cutoff man on the play.
Well, ordinarily, if the first baseman will trail the runner to second, and Tuffle might have started to do that. Ball 2, 2-2. But I don't know where Miller was. In other words, the shortstop Elster is supposed to go out and be the cutoff man. And the throw is either going to come to the cutoff man in anticipation of throwing home if Cangelosi is sent, or to second base.
Absolutely. Miller was totally out of position.
I mean, you have no other choice here, is to either relay home or the throw's going to go to second. So I don't know why Keith was going over. If in a different situation, you would sometimes employ 2 cutoff men, but not then. Down low, 3-2 now to Barry Bonds. Randy Myers, who struggled in the 9th inning in San Francisco in relief of Bob Ojeda when the Mets had a 1-0 lead, and the Giants tied the game, and the Mets eventually won it in the 10th. Struggling here in the 9th of a 1-1 game. And it's down low, ball 4. So Bonds walks. With 2 out, the Pirates have runners at first and second. And now Randall Kay will face Jose Lean. Jose tonight 1 for 4. He had a base hit to left field in the 8th inning. Fouls it back for strike 1. He has flied out to deep center and grounded out twice in his other 3 at-bats. A little bit outside with a fastball, 1-1. A total of just over 44,000 on hand tonight. 42,578 of them paid, as Andy Van Slyke stands not in the on-deck circle. Foul back again. 1 ball, 2 strikes for Lean. Most of the crowd still here. Some of the upper deckers have headed for the house. 1-1 tie in the 9th. Reedus at second. Bonds at first. Popped up, foul territory. Sasser may have a play, but it's too far back. Still 1-2 to Jose Lean. The Pirates have a chance, but cannot score against Randy Myers tonight. Bottom of the 9th of a 1-1 tie. After this for Nissan. Graham received from Verdi Travelwear a new modern tweed luggage set made of strong, extra durable fabric, ideal for long wear. Verdi Travelwear, available at fine stores everywhere. Also, they will receive a Sharp remote-controlled compact disc player with 8 times oversampling and 20-track programmability. The new point of view from Sharp Audio. New pitcher in the ball game is Jeff Robinson as we go to the bottom of the 9th inning.
And Jeff, with a record of 2 wins, 5 losses, he's had 4 saves, a very high earned run average of 5.26. He's walked 11, struck out 17, given up 32 hits and 225 and 2/3 innings pitched. The opposition hitting .299 against him. So he has not met with much success as he has been used in relief.
And the Pirates, of course, as has been mentioned earlier, without Jim Gott, their late inning stopper. Not that Gott would come into a tie game in the 9th inning, although he might under certain circumstances. But when you have a key player, and in many respects, the key player of the bullpen out, sometimes the rest of the bullpen suffers a little bit. So Mookie Wilson in the top of the order for New York in the bottom of the 9th. Mookie tonight 1 for 4 with an infield base hit in the 5th inning. Inside, ball 1. Robinson having a problem landing, as with Smiley a left-hander and now Myers a left-hander for New York pitching. Jeff will have to do a little repair work on the hole in which the left-handers have been landing in, not to his liking. Inside as Mookie gets jammed and fouls it off, 1-1. Robinson still working on it. And here in the 9th, he'll be facing Wilson, then Keith Miller, and Mark Carrion. The 1, 2, 3 hitters in the New York lineup. Grounded sharply to second, leaned right there, and an easy out number 1 in the ninth.
Second baseman, Keith Miller.
Gene Lamont sitting next to Jim Leland, the Pirates' third base coach, as they go over their lineup card. Keith Miller had a double back in the second. He's 1 for 4. Or back in the third, I should say. High, ball 1. There's Mark Carrion on deck. Grounded to third. Bonilla. Easy out number 2. Well, on behalf of Rusty's Cobb, I want to take a minute to thank all of the people who attended that picnic that Rusty sponsors every year, and the Budweiser people help him put on. Of course, Rusty's restaurants, both 73rd and 3rd and at 47th and 5th, providing the food, and it's all to benefit the widows and children of the New York City police and firefighters, and it's just a great effort every year, and our thanks on behalf of Rusty to all those who came and all those who served and contributed. Mark Carrion with 2 out and nobody on in the 9th inning, and he is 0 for 4. He replaced Darryl Strawberry in the lineup and in right field. A fly ball down the right field line. R.J. Reynolds over. And the inning is over. So it's extra innings at Shea tonight. A 1-1 tie as the Mets' inability to score continues to plague them. And Tim will join Ralph for the 10th after this for Bud Light.
Strike will lead it off as Tim McCarver comes back in to join us, and he takes the fastball. On the mound for the Mets, Randy Myers. Van Slyke in this ball game. Scoring the only run for the Pirates, getting that back in the first inning. 1-1 game, top of the 10th inning. They're playing a 1-1 game, bottom of the 10th, Montreal and Philadelphia. And the pitch back, a strike. 1-2 the count. Van Slyke, 1 for 3 with 2 stolen bases in this game. Pirates scoring in the first, and the Mets tying the ball game up when they scored in the 4th inning, and that pitch fouled off. The Mets in extra inning ball games with a record of 4 wins and 5 losses. The Pirates have played 6. They won 2 and lost 4. And a good curveball. Strike 3.
Second strikeout for Myers. And the Mets, I'll tell you, to show you how the Mets offense has been doing, I think you have to take a look, Ralph, at their starting pitchers. The starting pitchers of the Mets have won 3 of the last 19 games the Mets have played, which means that for the most part they've been going deep into the game. The relievers, it's been up to the relievers, and tonight another example of that.
No decisions for the starters or losses, and the Mets not doing the scoring that they did so well last year. They led the National League of runs scored. This year they're 11th, and Bobby Bonilla takes that one for a ball. It's 1-1. Bonilla has struck out twice and popped up to short. He also has walked. R.J. Reynolds in the on-deck circle. And this pitch popped in the air to shallow center field. Mookie Wilson, the center fielder, 2 men away. So 2 men out, and R.J. Reynolds the batter. R.J. with a base hit and 3 official at-bats was walked intentionally back in the 8th inning with a runner at second base to get to the left-hand batter. And the Mets strategy worked, as you see Reynolds foul off a fastball, strike 1. Randy Myers came in this ball game in the 9th inning. Got in trouble, but got out of it. Some bad base running. by the Pirates, and now here he's worked to the first 2 batters and picked up 2 outs. And that pitch, a ball, 1 strike. Rick Aguilera now throwing in the bullpen for the Mets. Ground ball hit on the ground, the middle of the second baseman. Keith with a throw to first, and the Pirates go quietly here in the top of the 10th as they go in order. And the score at the end of 9.5 innings, the Pirates won, the Mets won. And here's a word from AT&T.
Everybody, as we look at the White Stone Bridge, a reminder that New York Mets baseball has been brought to you by Budweiser. Beechwood Age for that clean, crisp taste. This Bud's for you. By Manufacturers Hanover, the financial source worldwide. By Nissan, building cars for people who want more than just a means of getting from here to there. Nissan, built for the human race. And we'll tell you a little bit more. Well, it's by the 9X Yellow Pages. Okay, if it's out there, it's in here.
And that pitch is in there, right in the strike zone for strike 1 to Kevin McReynolds. McReynolds 1 for 3. 1-1 ball game, bottom of the 10th inning, and a weak ground ball hit to the shortstop. A bad hop handled by Quinones very nicely. He gets the throw off in time for a good play and a big out.
Our other sponsors on this broadcast, RC Cola. Some people will go out of their way for the taste of RC. By Delta Airlines, we'd like to fly and it shows. And by The Wiz. Remember, for anything in home entertainment, nobody beats The Wiz. Proud folks who have brought you this game tonight, and for the most part, all our games here on WWOR throughout the summer.
So we thank the good sponsors, and we're in the bottom of the 10th inning, 1-1. Howard Johnson, the batter, and he's had a tough night. Takes the first pitch, a split-finger fastball for ball 1. Howard 0 for 4 with 3 strikeouts. He could not solve John Smiley. Now batting against Jeff Robinson for the first time. Smiley went the first 8, gave up 1 run, allowed 7 hits. Struck out 5 and walked 4, and that pitch, no pitch. Howard Johnson, club leader and runs batted in. Robinson back with the split finger fastball, a big swing and no contact. 1 ball, 1 strike. Johnson with 10 home runs, 27 runs batted in so far this year. And that pitch a ball, so it's 2-1. On deck batter Tim Tuffle. Mets have left 11 men on base. And another split finger fastball, 2-2. And the Pirates have left 10 on, which is one good reason why the score is 1-1. Jim Leland, manager of the Pirates. Got them into second place last year behind the Mets. And a pop up into shallow right center. Moving back is Jose Lane, and he makes the catch. So 2 men away, and that'll bring up Tim Tuffle.
First baseman,
Tuffle 1 for 3, an infield base hit back in the 6th inning. Jeff Robinson working his 2nd inning. And Tuffle with an idea about bunting with 2 men out.
That's a terrible play. That is a bad, bad baseball play. Now think about it. Tuffle's not going to steal second base. He doesn't run well. And he's an extra base type of hitter.
Now the long ball.
The percentages are to get an extra base hit with 2 out and nobody on, and then be driven in.
You're coming down the bottom of your bat.
Oh, yeah, that's a terrible play. First time I've seen Tuffle do that since he's been with the Mets.
And he grounds this one to third. Good play by Phenia. The throw to first, and the Mets go in order. So we go to the 11th. The score tied at 1-1, and here's a word from Canada Tourism. 11 and coming in is Tim McCarver for the play-by-play.
All right, and Jeff King is going to be the pinch hitter for Benny DeStefano. King, 24 years old, from Marion, Indiana. Makes his home in Colorado Springs. He batted .215, or make that .255 with Harrisburg last year, the AA affiliate of Pittsburgh. Jeff King, the pinch hitter for Benny DeStefano. And now Davy Johnson is going to make a move. Randy Myers, who went out there, and Davy made Jim Leland make a move. And now Davy's going to have a double switch as Dave Magaden comes in the ball game, as Myers is going to be the third hitter. Or would have. And Tuffle making the last out, so looks like Rick Aguilera coming into the game. He'll bat 6th. Magaden batting 9th. Myers is out of there after throwing 2 scoreless innings. And we'll come back to see how Rick does against Jeff King after this from Manufacturers Hanover.
Been taking over at first as they make the double switch, put Magaden in the 9th batting position where he'll bat in the next half inning, and Rick Aguilera coming in the game for the Mets. He has a record of 1 win and 1 loss. He's had 3 saves, an earned run average of 0.86. He's walked 8, struck out 43, given up only 23 hits and 31 in the 3rd innings. And it will be Magaden at first base, Aguilera pitching, and the batter will be King.
Interesting move by Davy Johnson. He wanted to take Myers out of the game, but he wanted Jim Leland to make a switch first, and he switched to Jeff King. And a swing and a miss. King batting .333 on the young season, was called up 6 home runs at Buffalo, the AAA affiliate of Pittsburgh. This one popped up right side. Magaden back. Miller is over, and this one too far back to the stand. No balls, 2 strikes to Jeff King. Jeff King, a graduate out of the University of Arkansas. How about that? Not too shabby. McReynolds, of course, when McReynolds signed, he signed actually with his leg in a cast. This one lined over the jumping Howard Johnson for a base hit. McReynolds trying to throw out his alum, and King in there with a double. So Davy Johnson's strategy so far backfiring, bringing in Aguilera and Jeff King with a double.
Well, his first double, and he takes that fastball and rips it down the line. Shows pretty good speed going into second base. He beats the throw in a line play by McReynolds. And now the Pirates have the go-ahead run at second base with no one out here in the top of the 11th inning.
We'll explain this about Randy Myers. Now, Myers had worked 2 innings. He went out to warm up. Jim Leland made the change, Jeff King, and Davy Johnson then went out to take out Randy Myers for Rick Aguilera. Quinones the batter, and look for him to bunt. He's swinging away, and that's a big surprise right there. A ball and no strikes to Quinones. Glenn Wilson, who has been bothered with a hamstring pull, has picked up a bat. The pitcher is 3 batters away. And Quinones trying to go the other way, so it's 1-1. Beg your pardon, Robinson is the next hitter, the pitcher. Tom Prince, the catcher, batting 9th. 1-1 to Quinones. King at second base. Nobody out here in the 11th inning of a 1-1 game. Maybe they're hitting with Quinones here, figuring if Wilson hits, Davy Johnson will walk Wilson to get to Tom Prince, the catcher. the only other able-bodied catcher for the Pirates. Ball 2, 2-1.
A lot of ways the wheels turn. Like Whitey Herzog said, you got to figure what they're figuring, then figure out what they're not figuring when they're figuring what they're figuring.
And now the bunt, pushed toward first. Magaden to Miller covering. And on the play, King moves to third base. And Glenn Wilson is going to be the batter. So Leland waiting 4 pitches before he decides to bunt.
Well, he gave him a shot to hit behind the runner and hopefully to pick up a base hit. Now he has to sacrifice in this spot. He makes a good bunt. Magaden not really coming in, charging on the bunt play, figuring that he would not bunt. And so they get it down and move the runner over to third. Now the strategy is, do you pitch to Wilson, or do you walk him to set up the double play?
Remember, Tom Prince is the only available catcher. Gene Lamont, the third base coach, talking to Wilson. And I don't think they're going to pitch to Wilson. But, of course, the alternative is to squeeze.
Wilson's been a real hot batter. He's hitting .293, has 7 home runs, 26 runs batted in. He's been their hottest batter lately.
Ever since trade rumors sending Alan Ashby of the Pirates to Pittsburgh back on May 4th, and Wilson has been red hot ever since. Well, Aguilera's going to pitch to him. Line drive, base hit, right field. Wilson, who can hardly run, pulled that hamstring again on the swing, but the go-ahead Pirate run has scored. And it's 2-1 Pittsburgh.
Well, Wilson will have to leave the ball game. He's limping off the field, but he's put the Pirates up by a 2-1 margin. There he goes back to the bench. They'll have a runner for him. And he got a big base hit. Fastball out and away, and he hits it just over the head of the first baseman in fair territory. And coming in from third to score is King. And the Pirates add on and lead 2-1. Got their first run back in the first inning. See Wilson pulling up with that hamstring.
Well, we talked about it before, and you really have to wonder, Ralph, if Wilson can't run, even if you walk him and put him on, you got Tom Prince, the catcher, and the only catcher to hit. And that's the case right now. And Aguilera, his first pitch, fouled off 0-1.
But Davey not going that way, and it's cost him. It doesn't mean that the other way would have worked either.
No, that's true. You got a healthy Prince with 0-2 to Tom, and an unhealthy Wilson. Maybe that's what Davey was thinking about. Thinking about how can a guy hit on one leg. Well, Wilson delivered.
That's Kurt Gibson.
That's right. Gibson's famous home run last year, the first game of the series. It's a ball and 2 strikes to Tom Prince. Doug Drabeck is the pinch runner for Wilson at first base. Top of the 11th, 2-1 Pittsburgh. Still 1-2 to Tom Prince. And a subdued Shea Stadium looks on. The split finger is pulled foul. Still a ball and 2 strikes to Tom Prince. We mentioned earlier that Mike LaValliere, the regular Pirates catcher, out because of a collision at home plate with Rex Hudler of the Montreal Expos. That's why Prince was called up from Buffalo. Ground ball up the middle. Elster will try to go to second and now to first, and neither works. It's going to be an infield hit for Tom Prince. Elster caught in between, and boy, that has been the story of the Mets for the last month. Caught in between.
Right here, Miller comes over and doesn't cover the bag because he thinks he can get to it, but he never could make the play, so Elster really doesn't have a chance. He's got to go to first base right away, but doesn't. So you see Miller going by. He thought he might have a chance for the force play, and then he couldn't. So the disgust plainly shows on Elster's face, and the Pirates have runners at first and second.
Barry Bonds is the batter, and he takes the forkball that's high. Prince at first, Draybeck at second. 2-1 Pirates. They're looking for more. One out here in the 11th. High, ball 2. You're watching Mets Baseball 89 on WWOR-TV, Secaucus, New Jersey. Fouled out of play. 2 balls, 1 strike to Barry Bonds. Jose leaned on deck. Ball 3. 3 balls and a strike. Aguilera, to his credit, has really done the job. He is 0-1 with 3 saves and has not allowed an earned run coming into tonight's game since April 16th. April 16th. A month and a half spanning 14 appearances. Popped up, shallow center. Wilson, 2 out. Prince remains at first as Draybeck remains at second.
Second baseman.
In his first 2 appearances of the year, Aguilera gave up a run to the Expos back on the 7th of April. 9 days later, he gave up 2 runs to the Cardinals. And that has been it until tonight. 2-1 Pittsburgh. Leaned now. Strike 1. Ball outside, just missing. 1-1 to Jose Leaned. Jammed with a fastball. Lean fights it off. The ball and 2 strikes. Dwight Gooden started the game. He went 8 innings. Randy Myers for 2. Both leaving with the score 1-1. Aguilera with an earned run this game, and Jose Lean takes strike 3. But the Pirates put across a run on 3 hits, and they strand 2 after 10.5. 2-1 Pittsburgh. We're back after this from Budweiser. Shea Stadium says well water used. Little did the Mets know that sign up there to help the city of New York with their drought problems, realizing that the drought has been here at Shea. Not a lot of runs scored by the New York Ball Club. Jeff King remains in the game, and he'll play first base. And on the mound, Randy Kramer.
And Kramer with a record of 1 win and 1 loss. This will be his 9th game. He has an earned run average of 1.67. He has walked 12, struck out 13, given up 17 hits in 27 innings, and he has had 1 save.
So I guess we could say with that drought problem in runs that the Mets are trying to rain on their own parade here in the bottom of the 11th and get some runs. It has really been tough going. Mackie Sasser will lead it off, and Kevin Elster, followed by Dave Magaden, the first baseman.
Leading off for
I mean, really, you could take it back to spring training, Ralph, with the drought in runs. You could take it back to the second half of last season. Tom Verducci in Newsday today pointing out that the Mets were 41-41 their last 82 games last year.
In the middle of the season.
End of the year. Last 82 games, they were 41-41. They had built up such a big lead. Mackey Sasser now. And the split finger from Kramer. Actually a changeup as Randy throws very, very hard. Fouled off, 1-1.
In his fourth game start, Randy Kramer pitched a one-hitter. Ron Oster got a hit in the 8th inning. He won the game 5-0. He missed becoming the 14th rookie to pitch a no-hitter by that one hit.
Slider bites inside, 2-1. Kevin Elster on deck. Fouled out of play. Go ahead, Ralph.
I was going to say, only one pitcher in the history of Major League Ball ever pitched a no-hitter in his first game start, and that was Bobo Hollerman of the St. Louis Browns, and he never had a complete game after that.
Two to Sasser. Outside with a curve, 3-2. Line to center, it's going to drop. Base hit Sasser. So Mackey with a base hit, and that'll bring up Kevin Elster. We'll see if Davey Johnson has Kevin Bunning. Barry Lyons, who started the game. There's no way you can pinch run for Sasser here because Lyons is out of there. Barry, another good game. He was 2 for 3.
Well, the catcher's certainly covering Carter as Sasser comes up with a base hit. Lyons was on base 3 times and 4 at-bats, and now Sasser on for the 4th time and 5 at-bats, and Leland is going out to the mound.
He's just talking about defensive positioning here with the young Randy Kramer. And he's probably saying, just get one out. Don't get cute and start throwing the ball to second base. Get one out. If that happens, then it still takes, for the most part, a hit to tie. That's pretty good logic. I was going to say, as you look at Mel Stottlemyre and Davey Johnson, I was talking to Jim Rooker, a Pirates broadcaster, before the game, and he said Randy Kramer, they had the gun on him the last game when he came in relief. He was throwing the ball 94, 95 miles an hour, and there's Rook right there down for the post-game radio show of the Pirates. The bunt's a good one, and King taking his time and making the tag. So the sacrifice works.
Number 29, first baseman Dave Magaden.
Well, Kevin Elster does his job, bunts the ball out to the first base side. King, with no thought about second base, makes the tag for the out, and the Mets now have the tying run at second with 1 out. And Dave Magaden, the batter. Dave coming in the ball game and a pitching change.
Magaden, a point from 300 coming in. Hit deep to right field. Reynolds is back. This ball is out of here. Home run, Dave Magaden. And the drought may be over. Mets win it 3-2. Oh, brother. Can you believe it? Because I can't.
Well, home sweet home. The Mets coming off to a really tough road trip and coming home and coming behind to win the ball game after falling back. his second home run of this year. And he gets a fastball right here. It's down and in, and he puts the bat on the ball, and it's driven out to deep right field, and the Mets pick up the victory as they come back to win it. Their 13th comeback win. And here's a close-up of that swing on the fastball that was about knee-high on the inside part of the plate. A turnaround for the New York Mets as they won the game.
2 big hits this year. One by Lee Mazzilli earlier in the year off Steve Bedrosian. And this one by Dave Magaden, his second home run, and he should be all smiles. And for that reason, he is our Budweiser player of the game. How about that? The Mets win it in 11 innings, 3-2. The Pirates scoring 1 in the top of the 11th, and the Mets coming back with a 2 spot on a Sasser single and a Magaden home run in the 11th. Woo! Fans, as you can see, the Mets 3, the Pirates 2, and you can be with us again on Sunday when the Mets take on the same Pittsburgh Pirates, 1:30 p.m. right here on WWOR-TV. The executive producer of Mets Baseball 89 is Rick Miner, produced and directed by Jeff Mitchell. Associate producer Steve Olbaum. The associate director this evening, Tom Schaffery. The announcers on the preceding telecast were approved and contracted for by Sterling Doubleday Enterprises, and this has been a presentation of WWOR-TV Sports. Good night, everybody. Wow.
Mets and Pirates in a game seen right here on Channel 9. Top of the 9th, Randy Myers pitching, score tied at 1. Steve Cangelosi on first. Mets turn a bad play into a good one. Gary Rita singles to left. Kevin McReynolds gets to the ball, fires to second, but Keith Miller forgot to cover. Fortunately, first baseman Tim Puffle was there. Mackie Sasser runs Cangelosi back to third, and Hojo applies the tag. It stayed tied till the 11th. When following a pinch hit double by Jeff King, a pinch hit single by Glenn Wilson scored to make it 2-1 Pirates. But bottom of the inning, Mackie Sasser on base, Dave Magaden unloads on Randy Kramer. It's bye-bye, so long, farewell. Mets win it 2-1, and a knock on Magaden has been he's not a power hitter. Let's hope he has more of those left.
There's plenty of pressure to put on Greg by himself. I've been a little upset with the media and also with his teammates for adding to that pressure because he doesn't need it. We need to pull for each other and eliminate some of that pressure by everybody wanting everybody else to do well.
So in your mind, there's no time soon he's going down to the minors?
Not in my mind.
And what do you say we now check out the Yankees and Brewers tonight in Milwaukee, top of the 5th. Brewers up 1-0, but Steve Sachs facing Chris Bosio wraps the single to right center, driving home both Don Slaught and Alvaro Espinosa with a 2-1 Yankee lead. Bottom of the 8th, though, robbing out with the safety squeeze scores Mike Felder to tie the game at a deuce, but the Yanks have scored in the top of the 10th and now lead it 3-2.